And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Alumni Stadium up here in Columbus, Ohio. We have Week 2 high school football. The Baden Rams and the Stallions of Columbus St. Francis DeSales here on the Butler County High School Sports Report. Joel Sackenheim along with my friend Dan Conway here calling this game. We'll introduce him to our Butler County audience. Dan, your first broadcast. Welcome aboard, partner.
Excited to be here, Joel, and looking forward to adventure here today.
All right, you want to start with the home team since the people back home in Hamilton might not know quite as much about Columbus St. Francis DeSales. We talked to Coach Ryan Wiggins before the game. The Stallions went 6-4 last season, got the number 7 seed, knocked off the Dover Tornadoes in overtime, and then lost a close game to Uniontown Lake, the number 2 seed in the second round of the playoffs, Division II last year. They're coming off a 21-17 victory over Tri-Valley last week, and St. Francis DeSales, they've got a couple quarterbacks going tonight.
They do. They're going to have a pair of quarterbacks. One is P.J. Knowles. He's going to be a junior, very athletic, described to us by the coach as before the game, just athlete, get the ball in his hands and let him go to work.
And the other one? Famous name?
Well, the guy's name is Day. Oh, that's
Day.
Ryan Day's
Columbus
son.
Day? Oh, okay.
Ryan Day's son, the head coach of Ohio State. His son, R.J., is the backup quarterback. Freshman. We saw him take a couple reps here earlier, so he'll get in a little bit here and there, but we're definitely looking forward to seeing PJ with the ball in his hands.
St. Francis DeSales' key tailback is number 0 tonight. His name is Avery Garlock. He put in both touchdowns that Baden gave up in this matchup last year, and Baden does not give up a lot of points on defense.
No, they do not. He was the quarterback last year. This year he's been shifted over to running back. Excellent ball player. Once again, put the ball in his hands, let him go to work as an athlete.
Defensively, we're going to be keeping an eye out for Boston College commit Cam Gwynn. He's number 6 on defense. And Max Shulaw. He's a wrestler.
51-0 as a wrestler this year. Excellent kid with good hand-eye coordination. Once again, you know, when you're talking about Boston College commit Cameron Gwynn, Ryan Halfley can't wait to get his hands on him as the head coach of the Eagles next year.
DeSales went all the way to the state final in 2020, 3 years ago. Baden then followed them the following year to the state final in 2021. And interestingly enough, the Baden Rams actually used this place, Alumni Stadium, as a practice facility on the way to Canton that year when they played Chardon. So that is actually how this relationship, dare I say almost friendship, between these two high schools got started a couple years ago. Similar size, both Catholic schools. As for the Baden Rams, they've not lost a regular season game since before the COVID pandemic. These guys are hot. These guys are hungry. These guys are mature and old for the most part. Nick Yorty likes his odds tonight.
A lot of experience here for Baden. They're just going to be big. They're going to be fast. They're going to be physical. Talking to both coaches before the game, it was pretty unique. You got to see them smiling, interacting with each other. The respect is there. The talent is there. This should be a really great opportunity for both schools to showcase their talent. And like we talked about with DeSales, they've had a whole year to stew on last year's matchup. But don't forget, they had the ball and a chance to take the lead late on Baden and threw a pick 6.
The man who ripped their heart out last year at Fairfield Alumni Stadium was Aiden Brown. He wore number 29 last season. His number has changed. He is wearing number 1 tonight. He scored a touchdown against Hamilton High last week. He had a long touchdown in that Week 2 game last year. On offense in the first half, Baden had a 10-0 lead in that game. And as you say, Dan, DeSales was only down 20-14 late. They had a chance against Baden last year, and Aiden Brown is the man who slammed the door on defense with a pick 6. Ball is being placed on the tee as we're getting ready to start here in Columbus. The kicker for DeSales, how's this for a wonderful name? Elvis Castro Alvarado is going to be the kicker for the Stallions. And back on defense, it looks like we got number 21, Carson Cheek, who's going to play both ways for the Rams, as well as the coach's son, number 7. That is Zach Yorty, senior running back, 2 men deep for the Baden Rams. Baden's going to get the ball first, going from right to left on your screen, although we can see it tonight because we're on television. Thank you, Dad, running the camera. Pooch kick. This is not going to go all the way back to the back, and it's going to instead be Austin Buckle running this back. Breaks a couple tackles, brings the ball out to the 33-yard line, and that is where Alex Ritzy and company will start.
Got to be excited when you see Ritzy on the field tonight. Interestingly enough, he picked up a opportunity from Thomas More University, Division II college. Congratulations to him.
Couple Division II schools interested in him. The offer from Thomas More apparently just came recently. Don't know if Ritzy will end up having a chance to go D1 or not, but D2 is very respectable for sure. Ritzy in the shotgun formation with Yordi next to him, and now they're going to do the old college football look over and see. We got 3 receivers. We got Austin Buckle and Carson Cheek on the short side, but he's going to look to the far side of the screen instead. The pass is going to be complete to Quinn Brennan, number 6 out there. Nice little moderate pickup on first down there, Dan.
Just an opportunity, comfort food, comfort throw to start the game. You know, when you're not feeling well, when you're struggling with something new, you give the opportunity to try some mashed potatoes. That's what you do with a quarterback. 6-yard out, hit it right on the money. Great start there for Baden.
I'm reminded of Andrew Luck in the Gruden quarterback camp where he says you can't go broke taking a profit. Snap goes, faked up the middle. Instead, it's going to be Ritzy on the quarterback read option. He's going to slide down there right in front of Davis Anderson, and that's going to be plenty of yardage for the first down, and Baden is on the move.
Big first down. Once you get the first one in the game, you can get some momentum built. Let's see here what Baden does.
47 yards away, and Baden has had a tendency of going up on teams early and then just kind of lulling people to sleep in the second half. They scored 2 early drives against Hamilton High last week. Ritzy taking the snap, quick little hitch, more comfort food to Quinn Brennan there.
That's exactly what you want to do. If there's some nerves, first road start, first big deal, settle him down, get some easy throws, get some confidence built, and let's put him in the right spot.
Second down and 4, and again, the entire playbook probably opens up for you when you have a 2nd and 4, and Ritzy can attack you in such a variety of ways. This is going to be the handoff to Yordi up the middle, and Zach Yordi pile drives his way, finally wrapped up by Elijah Charles, and that's going to be enough for a first down for the Rams.
Big boy first down right there. Lower the shoulder, get some contact, move the yards. Let's keep going, moving the ball there, Baden. Good work.
Shout out to Chris Vogt down at the Hawks Nest. He's calling Hamilton and Lakota East on radio tonight. That game won't start until 8 p.m. A lot of the local games back home in southwestern Ohio getting an hour delayed start due to the heat index. No such luck here in Columbus. It's a nice, cool, well, not cool, but cooler night. Ritzy's going to look deep here. He's got a man.
There it is on
down
the wheel
sideline.
route. Nice catch.
Did he get
there.
A foot in?
He
did not.
Ooh.
It's Carson Cheek, but the ball was thrown just a tad toward the sideline, and the first foot that came down when he actually gained possession came down out of bounds, so it's going to be an incomplete pass there. 2nd down and 10 for the Rams. But Chris sends a shout-out, Dad, our cameraman, and says, you are free to zoom in a little more if you want to. You are welcome to do so. Get a little closer view because we are a little high up here in this press box. 2nd and 10. The 4 wide receiver set looks over. 2 receivers on each side. You got Ritzy and Yordi, of course, in the backfield. 4 down linemen for DeSales. 4-2 look defense nickel. Ritzy's going to try to scramble, and he's going to slide down into a pile of Stallions. Not much doing there. It's going to be a 3rd down and long. The first 3rd and long for Baden tonight.
Excellent opportunity here for the St. Francis defense. You got them 3rd and long. Let's see if they can complete a pass, get a little bit of pressure up from that front. Way to wrap up the quarterback, make him go to the ground early.
3rd down and 7, we're going to call it, from the 30-yard line. And not everything open in the playbook here. There's probably going to be a pass. And look, with trips receivers to the right, look for the swing pass. Baden loves to run the little outs. And there is the out pass to Aiden Brown, the skill guy. He is wrapped up by his numerical counterpart, number 1, Elijah Charles, for the Stallions. And we're in no man's land. Baden's kicking range is only about a 35-yard field goal. I would expect Yordi to go for this.
I would as well. Excellent tackle there by Elijah Charles. That's what happens when you have a senior leader on the field. Great young man and great play.
Baden loves getting his guys out there in space. And 4th down and about 5. Again, about anything open in the playbook here. We're going to have the trips receivers to the left side of the formation now. And again, watch for the little bubble screen or watch for the slant and go and maybe take a shot at the end zone here. Ritzy's dropping back. He gets the crossing route to Brennan. It is caught, and a huge stick for Avery Garlock, number 0. We were told to watch out for him on offense, Dan, but his first contribution to the Stallions is on the defensive side of the field.
How about that hit from a former quarterback? Are you kidding me? Great tackle in space. Way to get the early stop because, like Joel had mentioned, Baden has had a tendency to jump up on teams early. Now they're going to be facing some adversity here. DeSales, get the ball moving here, and let's see what you guys can do.
1st and 10 for the Stallions. They're going to have the ball in average field position, about the 23-yard line, and that vaunted Baden defense taking the field. They shut out the Hamilton Big Blue last week, and they're hungry for more.
True freshman R.J. Day is in there at quarterback. Both quarterbacks are on the field, and P.J. Knowles and R.J. Day.
Day throws a little bubble screen over the hands of Bryce Herrick. Little high on that ball.
Simply just a little bit of nerves. Get them calmed down.
Freshman quarterback. And yes, the advantage of P.J. Knowles, the junior, is he is a flat-out athlete, so they can play him at quarterback. He's comfortable there. But as you see, they've already got him lined up at the very bottom of the screen, number 11 down there. And they can line him up at wide receiver just as easily. 5 wides.
You're seeing 5 wide receivers, 2 former quarterbacks on the left side.
And Day's going to look for Knowles. It is complete. Aiden Brown's going to try to wrap him up, but that is going to be enough for a first down for the Stallions. And St. Francis DeSales on the move.
Once again, some comfort food throws. Give it something simple, something easy to read and hit easily. Good throw there. Get some confidence. Now let's see what they can do.
With both quarterbacks having arms as strong as they have, it means that the defensive backs have to give up a decent-sized cushion. Look how far off Aiden Brown is at the bottom of your screen from Knowles. He doesn't want to get burned over the top here in man coverage. Run up the middle. That is Avery Garlock, and Garlock is not going to get much yardage at all as Royce Rachel breaks through the line and makes the tackle for the Rams.
Junior defensive lineman in there. Excellent play. Good hands. Way to get off the block and get into the backfield.
2nd down and 10. Both teams very comfortable in the shotgun, but they're going to both try to run the ball out of the shotgun.
Baden with the size advantage here, but it looks like DeSales has been able to pick up the front.
Pistol formation. Day calls a hard count, gets a Baden Ram to jump. It's the left defensive end. That's number 90, Jared Livelsberger. And that's going to be a 5-yard penalty. So even though it was a 0-yard gain on 1st and 10, tack 5 yards anyway. 2nd and 5 is what St. Francis DeSales is going to like.
I like seeing Carson Cheek come up and clap him on the hand and say, hey, it's going to be okay, big fella. You're going to make a play. Just calm down and forget it.
Pistol formation again for Day with Garlock behind him. Fake handoff. Day's going to try to run it himself. Shoestringed and then finally brought down. It looks like the man that finally is going to get credit for the tackle is the defensive tackle. It's big old number 75, Ethan Kent. 6'2", 310. Beefy.
Biggest player on the field tonight. It's a good sign here, and we got a 3rd down and short. Let's see what St. Francis is going to do lining up. They're going to come out 5 wides again. Challenge Baden. Spread this defense out. Make them uncomfortable.
Looks like a single high safety at the top for Baden's defense. And a quick 3-step drop and a pass to Knowles, who is wrapped up by Brown. Just beyond the sticks. They needed 3 yards. They got 4, and it is a first down for the Stallions.
Once again, comfort food throw early in the game. Calm him down.
We're going to be having mashed potatoes all night long here in the booth, Dan.
Don't say that again.
1st and 10 for DeSales at the 46-yard line.
Sticking with R.J. Day in there, quarterback, 6 foot, 180-pound, true freshman.
Pistol formation for Day and Garlock behind him. It is a handoff to Garlock. He is wrapped up by that Baden defensive line. I think that was Royce Rachel, the first guy to get him, but several Rams in on that tackle.
And our talks before the game, DeSales mentioned early that Baden has sideline-to-sideline speed on defense. They are fast, they are athletic, and they understand how to get to the football.
When you hold a Division I program scoreless in week 1, it's kind of a nice little feather in your cap because you know you're giving up a lot of size to those guys.
You are.
2nd and 11 for the Stallions. And it's going to be a 3-step drop from Day. Short little pass. That is to number 7.
Broken tackle.
Jack Elgin. Elgin runs down the sideline, and that's going to be a huge gain for the Stallions.
Talk about an opportunity right there. You break a tackle, you get in space, good things happen.
Almost in the red zone now, 24-yard line for St. Francis DeSales. Baden's defense a little on their heels with this young freshman quarterback causing them some grief.
Well, you spread them out, you make them cover sideline to sideline, and you get those man-on-man conversations. Good things are going to happen.
Very challenging with only a one high safety there and 5 wide receivers. 4 wide outs here with the running back behind. And this is going to be a fake handoff. Day's going to try to run it himself, and he is wrapped up by, looks like Eli Little, the senior linebacker for the Rams. It's going to be a minimal gain, second and about 7, maybe 8 for the Stallions. What are you seeing, Dan, about St. Francis's offense?
The spread factor is really making Hamilton and Baden uncomfortable. They're getting the ball out quickly. They're trying to get R.J. Day a lot of comfort, make it easy, and that's a great start to the game right now.
When you got a freshman quarterback, if you can get him a few completions early on, it's probably going to go a long way to building up his confidence, I would think.
Yes. This is also the first time we've seen the running back in the backfield. It's good to see Avery Garlock. He's the reason they're on the field.
And a pass thrown, slant pass. That is to Elgin again. Jack Elgin is just inside the 10-yard line. First and goal, and St. Francis hurrying up to the line a little bit.
Aiden Brown with a nice tackle. That was a small window to put that ball in, and you could see the accuracy from R.J. Day. The kid knows how to put a football right on the money.
First and 10 for the Stallions. First and goal from the 10 for the Stallions. We're down to 5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Quickly moving quarter with all the passing that's been done. They've at least been completing most of the passes and keeping the clock moving.
I think what you got to do here is you move R.J. Day in the pocket, get something where he's got an easy read, and try to make it as simple as possible for the defense.
They're going to hand it off to Garlock instead, try to cross up the defense, and not a lot of tough sledding there. Wrapped up. Looks like that's Little again. The linebacker coming in and plugging up the hole. Gain of 2 yards. It's second and goal from the 8. Go ahead, Dan.
The further you move down into the red zone, the harder it is to operate down here. Let's see what DeSales is going to come up with here.
Yeah, Baden's defense doesn't have to guard near as much, and looking at the man coverage, you can see, if you can pan over even, Dad, to see the defensive back there on the very edge with 11 there, see how much less room Brennan is now giving than Aiden Brown was giving, because you don't need to respect over the top. Sack coming. Down goes Day. Big old 75, Ethan Kent with the sack, and that's going to be tough sledding for the Stallions.
Big play right there. That's what happens when you have a senior defensive tackle in the middle of the defense. He knows what he's doing, and he makes a play.
Third and goal from the 15-yard line here.
One of the big keys right now for the Stallions, get some points here. A field goal is still getting the lead. Baden has not been scored on this year. If you move the ball here, get some points, you can really change the momentum of the game. Challenge the Rams early.
5 wide receiver set. Drop back screen pass. Wide receiver screen. It is caught by Walker. Micah Walker is wrapped up. He will gain only 1 yard. First time we're going to call Nate Ostendorf's name tonight on defense. We're going to call it probably a lot more. Nick Yorty was very complimentary of the Stallions' kicking game in the pregame talk that we had with them. And this will be our first chance to see Elvis Castro Alvarado try to kick 3 in for the Stallions. This will be a 31-yard attempt just inside the right hash. And here's the snap, and the kick is up. And it is wide to the right. And so after all that, we're going to have still a scoreless tie, Dan.
This is where you got to go over to the kicker, say, hey, you'll get the next one. Just take a deep breath. It's hard to come out and kick early. Sophomore, give him an opportunity.
And it's very challenging, I think, with the wideness of some of the hashes. We see with the NFL games, the hash marks are a lot closer together. With the college and the high school games, as far out as they are spread, it leads to some very strange angles on some of the kickers. The kick was plenty long enough. It just never quite curved back into the middle of the uprights.
One, I mean, the thing with a high school kicker is sophomore, give him the opportunity. He'll make that one next time.
And so a 1st and 10 for Baden. This ball is going to be brought to the 20-yard line because in high school football, a wide field goal is treated as a touchback. So instead of the NFL would be put on the 21-yard line where it was kicked from, instead of college where it would be moved to the line of scrimmage, in high school it's just simply going to go to the 20 since it went out the back of the end zone.
Still a positive first drive. You moved the ball. You proved you could cause some trouble on the outside. Now you got to settle in, let your defense go to work here.
So we have 1st and 10 for the Baden Rams. Ritzy's got not Yordi in the backfield, but instead Lem Grayson. And this is going to be a handoff to Grayson, the scat back, and he is bumped down by Lincoln Shulaw.
That was an excellent tackle. Good move in the hole, but a better tackle in the opportunity right there.
I was calling a game with Dad and Danny Vogt last year down at Braun Basevich at Roger Bacon. Baden had a huge lead in that game, and in the fourth quarter, Lem Grayson, number 25, who was a freshman then, he's a sophomore now, got a lot of good carries and very much impressed in the fourth quarter of that game. Here he is now in the second possession of the game, getting some running back work in. Ritzy's going to roll out, throwing it over the head of Carson Cheek. Little off balance on that throw, Dan?
Little off balance. At the same time, it's hard to throw the ball moving in either direction. Young quarterback, a little bit of pregame jitters, and a lot of excitement. Hey, we're getting to throw the ball deep right here. Let's see if St. Francis can get a stop. 3rd and long.
Well, Ritzy's the senior, so he's the old one. Day's the young one for Francis DeSales. But all things considered, you're correct about running right, and you've got that slant coming back toward the left. Kind of a challenging passing window. 3rd and 9. We'll see how aggressive Yordi wants to take this here. You could be real aggressive and try something. You can call a draw and see if you can play field position. This is going to be a pass play and a screen to Aiden Brown, and the ball is going to be incomplete. It's scooped up by Davis Anderson. He wants to try to run this thing, but it's definitely an incomplete pass there. No chance on that play for the Rams.
Great defense, way to be in the middle of the field, way to make that a hard throw. Ritzy with a good ball in the right placement, just a tough spot to put it into.
4th and 9, and we're going to see Baden's new punter this year, the sophomore, Ben Sakash. They lost Reese Angelone due to graduation. Sakash is a left-footed punter, and a pretty nice punt first time through. Takes a good bounce for the Rams. It's across midfield to the 45-yard line. That punt is going to be a 34-yard punt.
Somewhere about there. DeSales really needed to stay away from that football. The thing is, when you have a punt like that, you have to stay away from it. Call Poison, call Peter, whatever you have to do, because anytime that ball is touched, it can be recovered by Baden. Stay away from the football, kids.
Great message for everybody back at home. 45-yard line. DeSales, much better field position for drive number 2 of the game. Minute and 40 left to go in the first quarter. And once again, Ryan Day, the freshman, RJ Day, the son of Ryan Day, I should say, the freshman. I'm going to do that all night long. Takes the shotgun snap and hands this ball off to Avery Garlock. Garlock's going to try to pound it up the middle. It's not got a lot of room. The tackle is by Eli Little as well as Royce Rachel for the Rams. Gain of about 2 yards. It's going to be second down. Well, gain of 1 yard. They just respotted it. Second down and 9 for the Stallions.
It might be tough sledding right now, but if you can chip away with the running game, it does 2 things. 1, it settles the quarterback down. A good quarterback's best friend is a good running game. And number 2, it eats away at the clock. Baden is going to have to move the ball faster than they like to if this game continues to go the way it has.
Second down and 9 for the Stallions.
Loaded line of scrimmage here.
4-man rush. Day's going to throw it deep. He's got Knowles. Aiden Brown in coverage. Puts his hand on him, though. And he's going to get nabbed for pass interference.
That's pass interference right there. Good shot. You know what? Hey, we ran the ball. We proved to you we can run it. And here's the thing. Stick with the running game. Play action. The DB bit just a...
Pass interference is a 15-yard penalty in high school. And so they're going to march this off. It's not going to affect it. It's going to be a first down because the 15 yards is the first down. But there are no automatic first downs in high school football either. And so had it been like a 2nd and 20, it would have become 2nd and 5. Just... It gets really interesting when you get to the and goal situation where the penalties are half the distance to the goal line with no automatic first downs attached. Regardless, it's going to be a first down for the Stallions. Ball's at the Baden 39-yard line.
If you notice, they're spreading him out completely right there.
Set a man in motion. They're going to look at the pocket of the zone, and a great tackle is going to land him out of bounds. Aiden Brown, Carson Cheek, caught Bryce Herrick in the air. He would have landed in bounds, and they escorted him to that purple paint there. deeming that an incomplete pass.
Great coverage, way to be field aware there by the Baden Rams secondary. Well-coached football team.
Second down and 10 now for the Stallions. We're down to 46 seconds remaining in the first quarter of play.
You're seeing a little bit more aggression here out of the Stallions. They've thrown the ball down the field twice here. In the first possession, it was screens, dump-offs, quick passes. They've thrown 2 balls, 15 yards here.
Second down and 10.
You're seeing them go from the 40 to the 40. They've got them completely spread out numerically from one side of the field to the other.
We have a timeout taken by St. Francis DeSales. That is their first timeout of the half. Well, if you're the Baden Rams, you're still scoreless, but I don't think you've had the better of the play so far in this game. What do you think Yordy's looking at for some adjustments after the first quarter when we get to the end of the first?
Well, the thing with Baden right now, the defensive line is not getting pressure on R.J. Day. He's got time to throw, and the coaches have had the ball come out of his hands quickly. Their offensive line right now, DeSales has proven they can hold up at the point of attack. That's going to allow R.J. Day to throw the ball down the field, and you've seen P.J. Knowles and Avery Garlock. The two of them have both made plays. Yes, Baden has responded with good defense, but they're going to have to be able to get some pressure. Otherwise, number 12 is going to have a field day on him.
You can see the potential, and you wonder how good R.J. Day is going to be over the next couple years. If Baden and St. Francis DeSales keep this rivalry going, this is going to be interesting to keep an eye on this man. And also interesting to see the stands that the Ohio State head coach ends up showing up in the middle of the second quarter, Dan.
Well, we've been talking about that before the game. We met with both coaches.
Day is going to keep the ball and run it up the middle. And he's going to get a deceptive amount of yardage there. He's going to get about 8 yards before he's finally tackled by the Rams. I think a lot of Baden's defense went with Garlock there, the running back, and that's a good read by Day.
Yeah, great read, opportunity. Go forward and get as much as you can. You're not going to bust a lot of big runs here on this Baden defense, but if you can get 8 yards like that, that's a win right there.
3rd and 3. Yeah, maybe make it 2 for the Stallions. They probably won't have to snap this ball, and that's exactly what they're looking at. We're going to take this thing to the end of the first quarter. The Baden Rams, nothing. Columbus St. Francis DeSales, nothing. But the Stallions are on the move.
Quick moving quarter there.
Well, I'm going to introduce you to a new friend of ours here, everybody. Take a look at this guy as they move. This is Bishop Clarence Isenman. This man was born in Hamilton, Ohio in 1907, went to St. Anne's Grade School and Hamilton Catholic High School before going into the Roman Catholic Seminary. Auxiliary Bishop of Cincinnati, became the Bishop of Columbus. Was the Bishop of Columbus when the campus of St. Francis DeSales was established and dedicated here, and eventually became the Bishop of Cleveland. He is the connection, going super old school, between Baden and St. Francis DeSales, having both attended Hamilton Catholic when it was an all-boys high school and dedicated St. Francis DeSales' campus. And according to Father Ed Pratt, Baden's chaplain, apparently when Baden was first made co-ed, one of the initial names, of course, Cincinnati has a lot of high schools named after bishops, including Archbishop Moeller and Alter and McNicholas. The idea of naming the high school Bishop Isenman was floated out there as a possibility, and Clarence Isenman himself absolutely flat out rejected the idea, did not want a high school named after him, did not want everybody rooting against Bishop Izzy, he said. 3rd down and 2. We thank Father Ed Pratt, who ran into him on the way in here, for that nice little tidbit of information. The more you know.
This is an opportunity right here for the Stallions. 3rd and short with an opportunity here to take a shot in the end zone. Spread this defense out, make them think they're coming wide, and give this receiving core an opportunity to make a play.
Baden's defensive backs giving a lot of cushion. This might be a 3-step drop and a hitch, and that's exactly what we got there. Nolan McSweeney has enough for the first down, wrapped up by Nate Ostendorf, the linebacker out there in space. Dan, I think Baden was worried about exactly what you talked about, backed everybody else off in coverage, and in the process conceded a very easy first down.
The offensive line for the Stallions held up at the point of attack. They gave R.J. Day enough time. He makes a great read, and Nolan McSweeney with a great catch First down, keep moving those chains, keep building confidence.
1st and 10 for the Stallions. Ball is at about the 22-yard line. We got a little hold up here. We're kind of wondering what we're holding up for.
Something with the refs and being able to spot the first down. The clock is not moving. The coaches were explaining everything too, and it looks like football is going to be getting underway very quickly.
Back judge is back out there again, so we are ready to go. The clock is now being wound. 1st and 10 still, and now we're kind of still waiting around.
So the clock was at 11:45 when it was stopped. Then it started. It's at 11:42, and it was stopped again.
3 seconds off the game clock, 3 seconds off the play clock. Whatever they had to talk about, it looks like it's been figured out again momentarily. The man with the white hat is back out there behind the play, and once again, we're going. Clock is running. 1st and 10 for the Stallions. Day changes up the protection at the line. Blitz coming. They're going to wrap up Day. He's going to gain a minimal gain there.
Should have given it off to Garlic there. Garlic was open and in space, had the opportunity to get into the end zone. Baden stuffed that out real quick.
Ostendorf and Jared Livelsberger combining for the tackle there. Still a 3-yard gain, all things considered.
Ethan Kent is definitely a game wrecker on the inside. Big man, senior, knows what he's doing in the middle.
Columbus scores. St. Charles has put a 60-yard touchdown up there on the first play of the game. They lead Beechcroft 7-0. Day is going to go ahead and try to scramble, and he is finally hit by the Baden Rams in the middle of the linebacking area.
So that was a busted play right there.
Okay, Dan?
He looked to fake it to the running back. The running back moved out of the way. Day took it, looked, nothing there, decided I got to calm down, get as many yards as I can. What an intelligent play by a young freshman getting some big experience right here. 3rd and short. See what they're going to do. They're going to spread him out. They got stuff down here last time, and now they're coming out under center.
My watch for quarterback sneak. No, it's going to be a handoff on a power up the middle. That's the big old fullback Max Shulaw, and Shulaw is going to be stopped short. I don't know that going power formation into the teeth of the Baden defense is going to be DeSales' best strategy here, Dan.
Definitely heavy traffic in the middle of the defense. Well done once again. We're going to keep singing the praises of Ethan Kent. Big senior nose guard, knows exactly how to stop the run.
And out comes the kicker, Elvis Castro Alvarado. DeSales would like to get some points. Points, as my sister Morgan would say back at home.
Sophomore kicker, it's a little bit more manageable. Like we talked about last time, the margins being further out. This time it's a little bit more on center. He does have to kick it from left going in, so it'll be a tough kick here.
Same distance, 31 yards, the same distance he missed last one. Kick is up. This one drifts to the right and is wide right. I think he overcorrected, Dan.
He did. It's a situational kick, hard kick, but you know what? You're a sophomore. You got plenty of time to get this right.
Whew. So the Baden Rams defense has given up nice chunks of yardage. They've been outgained probably by a 2-1 margin at this point in time. He's been wide right both times, but one time was wide right from the right hash where he would have needed to hook it. The other one, he's on the left hash trying to drift it. Either way, it ended up too far to the right. DeSales has to like where they're at, but scoreless, they can't like that.
No, they can't. Here comes the Baden offensive line. They're going to try to push around DeSales, get some momentum going. 9:27 left in the game. Try to get the quarterback going with Ritzy, get some confidence in him, and let's move the ball here.
Ritzy's going to take the snap and hand it off to Grayson. Lem Grayson's got some speed. Bouncing it to the outside. Finally hit by the defensive back, Elazar Hood. But that's going to be right by the sticks. And we're looking at a very short 2nd down for the Rams.
Elazar coming up, laying the wood there. Great hit.
Interesting that they've gone to Grayson for 2 out of the 3 drives as the running back rather than Yordi. I wonder if they see some sort of speed advantage trying to get him out there on the wing rather than trying to run this thing up the middle. It's 2nd and 1 now. This would be a great opportunity to run up the middle, and it is Grayson. And Grayson is wrapped up by Max Shulaw and company.
The 51-0 wrestler. Kid came in, made a play. That's exactly what wrestlers know how to do on the football field. Domination is what this kid has done in the wrestling match. Domination is what he just did on the football field.
Rick Casano apparently is up here as well tonight, reporting on 2 missed 31-yard field goals, and it's still 0-0. So shout out to Rick Casano, who seems to be everywhere. Rick the Kick, says my dad. 3rd and 2 after Grayson loses a yard. Ritzy's going to fake this. He's going to run outside, throw back across his body. Complete to Yordi. And Zach Yordi coming across, gives him a nice, easy hot route. A great hit by Max Shulaw in the backfield.
Coach's son right there making a big play. Good to see him on the field and open.
You can talk normally, Dan, because anybody can hear you whispering to me anyway over our microphone. So we just chat. 1st and 10 for the Baden Rams at the 35-yard line. Trying to gain a little more momentum into this game. They had a good first drive, but no points. Didn't have as good of a second drive. Ritzy's going to do the 3-step drop to Quinn Brennan. Brennan's going to catch that ball, wrapped up there by the defensive back, Kingston Johnson.
You know whose name we haven't called tonight so far? How about number 1, Aiden Brown?
He's not been all that active tonight.
They sent him in motion to try to draw the defense over. DeSales really paying attention where number 1 is.
Looks like the San Francisco 49ers, by the way, have just traded Trey Lance of the Dallas Cowboys. How about that? For a mid-round pick.
He went number 3 overall pick right there.
How about that? Handoff to Zach Yordi, spins. Breaks a couple tackles and races across the midfield stripe. Very strong run for Zach Yordi, the coach's son, as Baden gets into DeSales territory.
Coach's son right there, acting smart, doing exactly what he needs to do. Tough yards, physical yards, and here comes in the more speedy tailback into the backfield.
Lem Grayson, number 25 for the Baden Rams, joining Ritzy. You've got Aiden Brown and Quinn Brennan to the right side of the screen. You've got Carson Cheek and Austin Buckle to the top of the screen. 3-step drop to Brennan. Caught, wrapped up by Kingston Johnson. That's going to be there most of the night.
You can see, yeah, that's I think the 4th time that they've called a quick out route like that. Get the ball out of Ritzy's hands and give him an opportunity to get some confidence in there and make big throws.
We talked to Coach Ryan Wiggins at DeSales before the game, and one thing he was keenly aware of is the play action fake. If Baden gets their running game going and everybody has to put everybody in the box defensively, getting beaten over the top, DeSales giving up those yards. Grayson is going to try to run. He runs out of real estate, is cut off. The tackle is made by DeSales. I want to give credit to Avery Garlock. He's not the one who made the tackle, but he's the one that forced Grayson to tuck that thing back upfield and did not let him break contain. It's going to be a 3rd and 6 now for Baden.
Number 0, he's had a big catch. He's had a big tackle on a 4th down. He is all over the field and playing well tonight.
And a timeout. Looks like an official's timeout. Oh, we got an injured Stallion on the field.
That's good. The St. Francis student section just launched a giant pink, some kind of paint thing into the air, so we're having a little bit of a distraction over there with that.
Well, over here on the field, this is a player that DeSales does not want to see hurt in any stretch or long term. This is number 23, Max Shulaw. Shulaw is the senior fullback and linebacker, and this is indeed the one who is a state champion wrestler last winter, went 51-0 last year during wrestling season.
Good to see him up. He's starting to move, and now he's running. He'll be back in the game soon.
From your
Tough
lips
kid
to
right
God's
there.
ears. We certainly don't want to see anybody hurt either team here. Beautiful night here at Alumni Stadium in Columbus. All of you guys dealing with this hot weather back down in Butler County and all these 8 p.m. starts local time. We've started on time up here. It's about 10 degrees cooler up here. 81 degrees right now in Columbus. Feels like 84. Not terrible for high school football. Baden picked the right week to travel north.
They did. 3rd and 6 here. Trips going out to the right side. Let's see what Ritzy does with the football.
5-step drop, fake, pump fake, he's looking longer. Crossing route, slightly overthrows Carson Cheek, and he was open. You could hear that disappointed, hard clap from the coaching staff right next door to us in the booth that we had them, and now we don't.
Great call there by the Baden coaching staff, just tough execution on the play.
It's going to be 4th down, and it looks like late men coming in there. It's going to be the punter, Sakash, hangs this thing up way high, takes a weird sideways up. Watch out there, Lincoln Segovia. Ball almost hits you in the ankle, but he ducks away at the last minute. Not a great punt. We're going to be at the 30-yard line here. Baden's only going to gain about 15 or so yards of field position on that.
And you can see the coach coming over having words with Lincoln Segovia there. You got to stay away from the football. It is not your friend when you were returning a punt. Looks like R.J. Day is coming back to lead the offense out. Freshman coming in, making big-time throws in a game against Baden. These two teams have both been in the state championship in the last 5 years. They know how to win. Big for the coach to keep sticking with the freshman here.
2 men in motion. There's going to be a flag.
Looks like it's going to be an illegal procedure there. Not all the men were set at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that was a quick out there to P.J. Knowles. And often you see a man go in motion, but it looks like they got their wires crossed. Both receivers on the outside on both sides of the formation went in motion at the same time. Somebody missed a call. That's going to be a 5-yard penalty.
Hard enough to move the ball in the Baden defense as it is. You give them another 5 yards to defend you with, and it's even worse.
First down because they get the down back. Oh, Baden is going to actually decline the penalty. Apparently the ball was caught by P.J. Knowles out of bounds. And so instead of a 1st and 15, Baden's going to take a 2nd and 10 here. I guess mathematically it averages out to the same.
5:07 left in the game. Baden trying to play for a quick stop with the opportunity to go score right before half. DeSales trying to get some points here. They've moved it twice in a field goal range.
Swing pass to the running back Garlock. He catches it in traffic or out in space. Ostendorf makes a shoestring tackle there because Garlock had a lot more yardage to make if Ostendorf does not make that tackle.
The senior making a lot of plays in the open field. Big-time player, but once again, you hear the phrase senior used. Nate Ostendorf, great tackle by the shoestrings. These are veteran teams. They know how to win, and they know how to play in big games. They're not going to get nervous.
Man jumps for Baden, but not into the neutral zone, so no flag. It is 3rd down and 7.
Moving the running back over, trips to the right. Let's see what RJ does.
Day has taken every snap at quarterback. It is a completed pass. Jack Elgin has been a terror on the Rams defense all night long. Drew Enninger was in really tight coverage there, but was unable to deflect the ball, and 1st down for DeSales.
That is about as good a play as you can have defensively, and you know what? It still got beat. DeSales is a great offensive machine right now.
1st down and 10. DeSales has had the better of the offense, not by a lot, but by a little. Day keeps it himself up the middle and is walloped by Enninger.
That was the right read. The running back, Garlock, is going to draw the defense over. They paid attention, and then all of a sudden, RJ's got the ball. And at that point, he's picked up 4 yards.
2nd down and 7 we're going to go with.
Under 4 minutes to go here. You're close to midfield. Any kind of points would be huge. Baden hasn't been scored on all year. If you can get the lead going into halftime, you're going to scare him a little bit.
Day drops back.
There's
Free
a blitz.
rusher. Hits him.
Oh.
That was Eli Little who rushed and walloped the quarterback, R.J. Day. Michael Walker, the intended receiver. The ball hit him in the top of the fingers. It would have been a hard catch, but it would have been nice for DeSales had he been able to snag that down and help out his quarterback on that hot route. That
would have been a 1st down, and he knows it. You got to shake it off and make the next play here. 3rd and 7. This is a big play for the DeSales offense. The line has held up all game long. That was a blitz that got there. You have held up all game long. R.J. Day needs to continue to trust him, and they need to keep getting the ball out quick and moving it.
The Stallions look over at the sideline for the play call. We're seeing that more and more. That college game is trickling into high school as far as that's concerned. A whistle is blown and a timeout to DeSales. They couldn't quite get what they wanted to. So 1 timeout left for the Stallions. We're down to 3:19 left in the first half. Baden and DeSales still scoreless. Are you surprised by the score, Dan?
I am. Baden has jumped all over teams for a while now. They get an early lead, and then they just kind of, slowly just work the game slowly. The thing with DeSales right now, they have to continue to throw the ball, get the ball quickly out of the hands, hold up at the line of scrimmage. They've done really well. I'm looking for Avery Garlock to make a play here. The senior has done everything right so far.
This is your first look at the Baden Rams, correct?
Correct.
State finalists 2 years ago. Predicted to go there again last year, got upset in the regional finals. What's your impression so far against a quality opponent?
The defensive line has been playing okay. I'd like to see them work the ball a little bit more with Ritzy down the middle of the field, take a shot here. But St. Francis is the one with the ball now, and let's see what number 12 does. His daddy played quarterback for New Hampshire back in the day.
Ryan Day?
It's one of those, you're a Buckeye fan, you're going to know a couple things.
If you know you're a Buckeye fan, you know something about your head coach.
Yep.
3rd down and 7.
3:19 left.
Day's going to keep it and look to throw. He's going to scramble left. There's not a lot of room there. And Eli Little, we've called his name a lot on defense tonight.
Well, the other one that's there is Ethan Kent, the big defensive tackle in the middle of the field. Big stop. 3 minutes left. They're going to punt it here. Number 24, Brendan Ballard. He's a senior. Getting the protection set. Avery Garlock in there telling everybody what to do. He knows exactly what he's doing.
All right, Ballard is going to go ahead and punt this ball away. First punt for DeSales today. They've missed a couple field goals.
Great punt.
Aiden Brown doesn't want any part of it. Takes a backwards hop and is downed by John Hockaday. And Baden will start what they think will be the final possession of the second quarter. We'll see.
Brendan Ballard with a great punt there. It just ricocheted back, but hey, Baden is starting inside their own 20-yard or inside their own 30-yard line.
Baden last year was highly aggressive in some of these situations late in the first half. They were not afraid to air out the ball. A game like this is nothing. You kind of wonder how aggressive they'll be, and every time I say that, Yordi never disappoints.
2:37 left and all 3 timeouts. Plus, we know how good of a kicker they've got.
Swing pass to Aiden Brown. Get him in space. Breaks the tackle. Wrapped up by Shulaw. He's back on the field. That's good news for the Stallions. A gain of 10 and a first down for the Rams.
You put the ball in Aiden Brown's hands, good things happen. Great decision there to get the ball moving quick.
First down and 10 for the Rams. 3 receivers to the bottom of your screen. Look for the slant or screen there again. Now they're going to the man coverage at the top instead. That pass incomplete, intended for Austin Buckle. Wonderful coverage there by Kingston Johnson to basically pin him against the sideline.
Young sophomore with great coverage there.
Cameron Gwynn, the Boston College commit, you see him running out. His helmet fell off on that play, and so he's going to have to sit out one play. He's disappointed in that. Let's see what happens and if the Rams are able to take advantage of the Division I Boston College commit not being in the game here on 2nd down and 10. 2:14 remaining in the second quarter.
The speed back out there and Lim Grayson. This is where he's in his best element. Get the ball to him in open space and let him run.
Brown and Brennan are to the bottom side of your screen. It's Buckle and it's Cheek at the top. And that's going to be a run up the middle to Grayson. And so they're not going to take much advantage of the play without having Cameron Gwynn in the game. 3rd down and 7. The clock is going to run, though. And that may not be a bad thing for a 3rd and 7, because if you convert it, the clock will stop at the first down. If you don't, DeSales only has 1 timeout. You might as well bleed the clock a little bit just in case it doesn't go so well. Got a young punter, after all.
Trips to the right. They're on the left hash.
Roll out right for Ritzy. He's got a man underneath. That's Carson Cheek. He's got man-to-man coverage, wrapped up by Elijah Charles. And
big
that is not
tackle
gonna do
right there. Senior giving it his all for the team. Big tackle, gets the stop, and now you're going to have a timeout for DeSales.
Maybe. We have an injured Stallion down, Elijah Charles. So the clock is going to stop momentarily as they take care of the injured player. DeSales, as you mentioned, Dan, is going to have a decision to make here on a 4th and 2. They can take a timeout if they so choose and keep this clock stopped at 1:29. Try to take advantage of a Baden punter that has had one good punt and one not so good punt tonight. See, luck of the draw, what happens there with your field position. Or if DeSales is worried about a 4th and 2 and if Yorty will be more on the aggressive side, I rather doubt it. But you could also let the clock kind of run down and play for a scoreless first half.
1:29 left in the half. They do have all 3 timeouts, though, so
Baden
keep that in
does.
mind. Baden does,
And
yeah.
DeSales does not. I think DeSales will be the one that'll have to take this timeout if they want to get the ball back, if they think Yorty is likely to punt.
Young freshman quarterback for DeSales, so if they want to go for it and be aggressive, it's really going to come down to how this punt goes off if they do punt, like Joel said.
Halftime is going to be coming up. We're going to have some halftime scores for you, but irony of ironies, our halftime score is going to be much better for the DeSales people that are listening in than the Baden people, because all your games down south seem to be starting at 8 p.m. tonight. DeSales opponents are all starting at 7. So we're going to have some Columbus scores for you at halftime.
Well,
Still 81 degrees up here in Columbus right now. 7:46 p.m. That's right. It's kind of amazing to get to halftime of a game and not have hardly any games back in Butler County being played. It looks like Colerain and Middletown have kicked off, though.
3-0 Cardinals over the Middies.
Got that down there at the bottom of our screen there. We got our little score stream. Even WMOH, who's got their game of the week, and they've got a doozy of a game out in Westchester. They got Princeton and Lakota West tonight. That game was supposed to be at 7 p.m. About 4 hours before game time, they decided to move it. It's interesting that some athletic directors moved it yesterday or 2 days ago, and other ones waited until like 4 hours before game time before they changed it.
There is also a chance of showers down in the Cincinnati area, so there was a hope that maybe something would come along and cool things off like yesterday's rain. But I think it's a good decision. If it's over 95 degrees, just move it back an hour. It's okay.
Really, really interesting gamesmanship here on the field. It was 1:29, was it?
Correct, yes.
And the clock was then going to run on the ready for play. Baden ran their offense onto the field. I doubt to run a play, but probably to run 40 seconds off the clock. They got 10 seconds off the clock before DeSales was wise to it, and then DeSales decided to take their third and final timeout. You kind of wonder, they had that injury stoppage, why they weren't thinking about that in the first place.
Refs should have probably communicated that with Coach, that as soon as the kid is up and moving and everything gets spotted, the clock will start. It's probably on the refs right there.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a failure to communicate between the refs and the coaches. You would think the coaches should know that, and you're right, the referees certainly could have told them that as well. Definitely, I don't know. Say, having been a basketball referee, I know a lot more, and soccer, I know a lot more about the camaraderie between coaches and referees in those two sports than I do for football. I kind of wish we had Greg White here in the booth with us, because that's one of our mutual friends who actually is a high school football referee. Be able to have him tell us kind of what's normal. Here comes the punter, Saycash, as expected. 1:19 left to go.
High snap. He got it off, though.
Nice spiraling punt.
Good.
This is
now
going to be
stay
unreturnable and
away
inside the
from
20s.
It. Let the clock run here if you're Baden. Don't down it until the refs make you.
The ball is going to be down at the 13-yard line. It's going to leave the Stallions with an 87-yard field, 1:07, and no timeouts. The clock will stop on first downs, at least momentarily, to set the chains up and then continue down the field. And Elvis Castro Alvarado has a longer leg, I would think, than Nicholas Warner Baden's kicker, but he's had problems with accuracy tonight. 2 31-yard field goals, both wide right. One of them because he didn't hook it far enough from the right hash. One because he pushed it too far from the left hash.
Simple overcorrection there. You make one mistake, and then you make the second. It's kind of like my golf game. Just keeps getting worse and worse.
Baden, meanwhile, has all 3 timeouts if they want to try to make a stop on defense. This is going to be a handoff up the middle. That's Garlock. Garlock's going to pound it up the middle for about 11 yards. I don't think Baden was expecting a run there.
I don't think they were either. Garlock again with a big-time play.
And so a first down, the clock is going to run. We'll see if DeSales wants to hurry up or not. They are quick up to the line.
55.
We're down to about 50 seconds remaining in the second quarter of play.
5 wides again. They are being aggressive with RJ. He is in complete control of this
RJ
offense.
Day throws the quick hitch, and
he got out of bounds.
That is P.J. Knowles, who started the game last week at quarterback. RJ Day is taking every single snap. A little gamesmanship by Coach Wiggins, maybe. He said that we're going to go with 2 quarterbacks tonight, and one of them has taken 100% of the snaps at QB.
You're seeing a lot of confidence in a kid that's just starting high school.
Second down and 3. 44 seconds remain in the first half.
Again, 5 wide receivers being aggressive. Blitz off the edge. It's
Screen pass to Knowles. He's got some room and some blocking. Doesn't take it out of bounds. Turns it upfield instead. Now the clock will pause for the first down, but it's going to then run as soon as the chains are set.
This is also showing a lot of faith in his kicker. Hey, you might be 0 for 2, but I believe if we get you close enough, you'll make something. 30 seconds left. They are huddling almost near midfield here, the 38-yard line.
And the clock continues to run.
Yeah, they move Garlic into the backfield. Rotate in the pocket to the left.
There's the pass complete, inbounds, and now finally getting out of bounds is Bryce Herrick, but they're down to 14 seconds left.
That was a big throw. On the move, running to the left, dead sprint. Baden kid getting ready to come in and knock him into next week. And RJ Day sets his feet, hits his target, first down for DeSales.
Clock stopped at 14 seconds remaining. Here's a score for you. Marion Local, the Division 7 Flyers over Franklin, a Division 3 program, 35-0 in the second quarter. Screen pass, tipped, and caught, and that's going to end the half. Jack Elgin caught the ball and fell.
Nope, it was incomplete.
He dropped it. Did he do that on purpose?
He might have. 2 seconds came off the clock between when the drop happened and when it did not.
Very, very smart play by Jack Elgin. Elgin may be the player of the half so far, and they put 2 seconds back on the clock. There are now 9 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Very smart.
You got an opportunity here. Rotate the pocket here with RJ. See if he can move the football. You're at midfield. The question is, can he throw Hail Mary all the way to the end zone?
If they can at least get in the field goal range and get out of bounds, they have a shot at a field goal. Pass across the middle, it's caught, and run upfield by Knowles.
He's got to get
3
down.
3 seconds, 2 seconds, and a flag. Oh. There's 1 second remaining. There's a writhing in pain Aiden Brown on the field for Baden.
Senior leader, that was not a good tackle right there. Extremely violent.
If this is penalty yardage, this is field goal range.
It is.
And there's 1 second left, and the clock stops because of the penalty.
And Elvis gets a chance here. He's been 0 for 2. But hey, you'll forget the first 2 if he hits one to put him up.
We're at a 10 to Aiden Brown there on the field. He has not really gotten up yet. Kind of scary there for the Baden Rams. Not something you like to see.
Now, you never want to see anyone get hurt, but especially a young man entering his senior year of football. He rotates there on the field.
We'll see. They got the helmet off now. Still 1 second remains.
We got an excellent environment here. DeSales has been very accommodating. Great school, great facility here.
Both of these schools, they almost feel like cousins. You know, they're similar size. They're both Catholic schools, similar mentality, similar spirituality. They have football programs that have been in the state finals recently. Looking at the top of the screen, Dad, can you zoom on Baden there? They're trying to run up the field, and DeSales is trying to run back off. They've taken the last second off the clock, and they're going to roll it. Apparently, whatever penalty that was, and I don't know what penalty it was declined. It must have been against St. Francis DeSales. And so we have reached halftime here with a 0-0 score of all things. And Aiden Brown, so hopefully they'll take care of him. I mean, obviously the first thing you think about holding your head is possible concussion. If that is indeed the case, he will not be back in this game. But we'll see exactly. It's kind of early to kind of figure all that out.
Tough kid. He's made some big distractions here while the offense is gone. You can tell that St. Francis really dials in where number 1 is on the football field. They know exactly, and they hold their breath when he gets the ball.
Aiden Brown was the one last year that scored the winning touchdown against DeSales. Aiden Brown had the touchdown in the first half against DeSales as well. So they definitely know. They definitely know he's the one to worry about. All right. Shall we look at some scores? Possibly look at some scores. Here is our scoreboard, and we'll see what we have here. A lot of non-scores to report, actually. So first of all, at the Hawks' Nest, Chris Vogt is going to be starting off live on the air in about 5 minutes.
We're actually going to interrupt this real quick to say Aiden Brown is up and walking. He does not have his helmet on him. Someone else has it. But he is up and walking, which is a great sign.
That's beautiful. Dowdy, you panned on him? And the minute Dowdy, you panned on him, we'll go ahead and show him walking off here so you can kind of see that he is indeed walking off on his own power. Took a big, big shot right there in the last play of the first half there. So they're kind of making sure everything's all right. I'm sure they'll go through concussion protocol and quiz him on, do you know where you are, and all that other good stuff that happens with concussions. All right. So, yes, down at the Hawks' Nest. We don't have a score yet because the game hasn't started yet. It'll start in 5 minutes down there. That is Arvie Crouch and the Hamilton Big Blue. They did not score against Baden last week, and they're playing Lakota East. Do you know who Lakota East head coach is?
John Kitna, former Cincinnati Bengal.
I remember back in 1997, Dan, going with Dad up to Canton, Ohio. First time Pro Football Hall of Fame, Don Shula inducted, Mike Webster inducted, and the preseason Hall of Fame game was the same afternoon as the inductions back then because it wasn't that well attended like it is now. It was a Minnesota Vikings Seattle Seahawks game, and there was a third-string quarterback for the Seahawks in that preseason game by the name of John Kitna. And I remember looking at Dad thinking, this third-string quarterback, he can play a little bit. He looks pretty good. And little did we know he'd end up being the starting quarterback for the Bengals at one point in time. And now he's the head coach at Lakota East. Baden fans would love to see Arvie Crouch win tonight. They'd love to see Arvie Crouch's Hamilton Big Blue win every week the rest of the way because every time Hamilton wins, it'll be worth 6.5 second-level points for the Baden Rams. Villa Angela St. Joseph ended up winning like 7 or 8 games for Baden last year after Baden beat them in week 1. That propelled them toward the number 1 seed. Sycamore and Fairfield, that game kicking off late down at Fairfield Alumni Stadium. We'll see what happens as those scores start developing. The second half of our game will be the first half of theirs. Princeton and Lakota West, that game kicking off at 8 p.m. That game will be heard on WMOH with Jason Earhart, Jeremy Lance, and I guess Joe Cole's probably going to be there calling that game on 1450 a.m. Colerain and Middletown, that game started at 7:30 at Barnett's Stadium. Colerain off to a 3-0 lead there, trying to regroup. Colerain was the feared team in all of Division I Cincinnati for years, and once Tom Bolden went to Lakota West, Colerain has fallen on a lot harder times. They'll be duking it out against the Middies tonight.
Trying to get back in the win column. They lost to LaSalle last week.
Edgewood and Clinton Massey, I have not seen a score from there yet. That's out in Clarksville. Ross and Mount Healthy, that game got postponed not to 8 p.m., but to Saturday. And so that game will be down there in Owlville. We'll see what the Ross Rams have in store after they lost a hard-fought game to Wyoming in week 1. Fenwick and Talawanda, not seen a score for that one yet. I believe that game is delayed in start. Monroe and Wyoming, that game I believe starting at 8 p.m. tonight. The Wyoming Cowboys have not lost a regular season game since 2015. Wow. And so Monroe is going to have their hands full. Wyoming, a Division IV program. Monroe right now ranked second behind Baden in Division III, Region 12. Gamble Montessori is playing Madison tonight. Madison's got their old coach back. He was the coach that led them all the way semifinals. Hello, Madison. They're playing Gamble Montessori. We'll see what coalesces there. And New Miami, delayed start tonight. They are hosting the Riverview East Academy Hawks. Other games that Baden is going to care about tonight because of second-level points. Dan, you're familiar with second-level points, following Joe Idle as well. Every time you beat a team that then goes on and wins another game, you get more points. And so, obviously, for Baden, they want Hamilton High School to win because they beat them last week. And then they would want all of the teams remaining on their schedule to win as many games as possible so that if Baden were to beat them later on, they're worth the maximum amount of points. So here are the other – go ahead, Dan. You have something. Here are the other games that Baden is going to care about. Western Hills and Roger Bacon. They play Roger Bacon coming up in a couple of weeks. Dixie Heights and Big Red Hughes. Big Red Hughes is Baden's Week 5 opponent. Tecumseh and Carroll. Baden plays Carroll in Week 6. Thurgood Marshall and Alter. None of these games I've seen scores on because I think all of them are probably starting at 8 p.m. This game started on time up at Glass Stadium. The Chaminade Julienne Eagles off to a very hot start against the Belmont Bison. Belmont coming off of a drubbing last week. They lost to the Urbana Hill Climbers last week, and I believe that score was 76-0. Wow.
Not a good start to the season right there for Belmont.
Belmont has been outscored 100-0 now on the season in 6 quarters. CJ putting the wood on the Bison at Glass Stadium. No score so far out in Wheelersburg. Delayed start there as well. The McNicholas Rockets have their hands full tonight against a very potent Division 5 school who is hungry for a win. I believe Wheelersburg lost their Week 1 matchup. And that Week 1 matchup was against Ironton. It was 17-14 final at Ironton, so Wheelersburg is going to be ticked. They don't lose often, playing host to the Rockets tonight. Postponed game until 8 p.m. as well. The Licking Heights Hornets are playing the Scotties of Tri-Valley. Baden fans, you don't care about this game at all. Anybody here that is rooting for St. Francis DeSales, you care immensely about this game. Tri-Valley is who DeSales beat last week by a 21-17 score. And so if Tri-Valley can beat this Division II opponent tonight, it'll be 6 more second-level points for the Stallions. Cuyahoga Falls Walsh Jesuit. That is the opponent that St. Francis DeSales will play next weekend, and they're trailing in the second quarter to the Trojans of McDowell High School of Erie, Pennsylvania. McDowell up 14-6 in that game. Walsh Jesuit already started off the year 1-0, so they're already going to be worth something for DeSales. Will they be worth more of something for DeSales next week is the question. Saturday game in West Virginia. The Richmond Heights Spartans are going to be playing DeSales' Week 4 opponent. That is the Lindsley Boarding School of Wheeling, West Virginia. And that'll be Saturday night. Their campus looks absolutely stunningly beautiful online. DeSales playing all kinds of opponents. Bishop Reedy. They are no longer in St. Francis DeSales Conference. It was a 5-team conference, the Central Catholic League. And just in the same way Baden fans as Purcell Marion and Roger Bacon left the GCL a few years back to join a little smaller conference, the Miami Valley Conference, Bishop Reedy has left DeSales and St. Charles and Watterson and Hartley. They're cutting it on their own now in the new Central Buckeye League, 8-team conference newly formed of some somewhat smaller schools because Reedy was the smallest school in that conference. They are having no problem with CHCA. How far has CHCA fallen since their glory days about 10, 12 years ago when they were running through Division 5? But Reedy is up 28-8. The Silver Knights with the advantage here in Columbus. You wonder if Baden and CHCA could have taken the same bus up here, saved a little bit of gas money. The St. Charles Cardinals leading the Beechcroft Cougars 21-6 in the second quarter. St. Charles is in the Central Catholic League, and that is an opponent that DeSales will see later on this year. The opponent that DeSales beat in the first round of the playoffs, and they'll play them in the regular season this year, the Dover Tornadoes. Dover and the Wildcats of Canton South are 7-7 in the second quarter up there in Canton. Bishop Hartley and Bloom Carroll. This game is 14-all in the second quarter. Bishop Hartley is an opponent that St. Francis DeSales knows well. They're in their conference, the Central Catholic League. And Hartley is playing Bloom Carroll. Now, Bloom Carroll, and Dad, you got the headset on now as you eat your pizza. Bloom Carroll is the team that Baden would have played in the state semis last year had they beaten the Tippecanoe Red Devils. But instead, Bloom Carroll got to knock off Tippecanoe and advance to the state finals in Division III, where they lost to Canfield. So Bloom Carroll, Division III, Region 11, that's a team that Baden might see in a state semi if they make it that far this year. They're playing Bishop Hartley, a team that St. Francis DeSales would love to have win tonight. Indian Hill and Northwest, another game delayed till 8 p.m., and this is hilarious to see two Cincinnati schools up here that Baden cares nothing about. This is a DeSales game because St. Francis DeSales plays against the Northwest Knights in Week 9. And Northwest, if you remember, they're in the SWAC. Edgewood and Ross left the SWAC. It leaves it as a 4-team league. Only Northwest, Talawanda, and Harrison and Mount Healthy in that conference, which means you play a 3-game conference schedule. It means you got to start getting creative with who you can play for the other 7 opponents. DeSales, of course, they lose Reedy as a conference opponent. So Northwest and DeSales are going to get together up here in Week 9. DeSales hosting all kinds of Southwestern Ohio teams. They would love the Northwest Knights to win. Baden does not care one bit about this game. And in the first quarter, the Bishop Watterson Eagles leading the Irish of Dublin Scioto 14-0. Bishop Watterson, the rival of DeSales, and that is who DeSales will play in Week 10. So looking at the eye chart, Dan, you've not seen this yet. Here's the Division III eye chart. This is Joe Idle, but color-coded. So you're going to see Baden is on the number 1 line. Nobody has any second-level points because everybody that won a game beat an opponent that is currently 0-1 because it's math. But you will start seeing some second-level points added in here as early as tonight. You see Baden, if Hamilton can beat Lakota East, they'll be worth 6.5 second-level points. Columbus St. Francis DeSales is worth 5.5 second-level points because they beat a Division III opponent last week in the Tri-Valley Scotties. And you see the other teams that Baden plays as the season goes along. So I know it's fun to root against your rivals, but you really want these first 5 weeks for Baden. You want to see every one of those GCL schools, Fenwick, Carroll, Alter, CJ, McNick, win as many games as possible so they can pull as many points into those matchups as they can. Roger Bacon, Fenwick, Carroll, and CJ already winning their Week 1 games. You see Monroe right down there on the second line. They've got Wyoming tonight, who's worth 6 points now, and if Monroe can knock them off, Wyoming, who has not lost a regular season game since 2015, you got to think will probably end up around 8-2 or 9-1. That is a type of team that Monroe can really, really churn a lot of points in. Wouldn't hurt Baden if Wyoming actually wins that game tonight to keep Monroe from getting all of those points. That's a strong opponent. You see Mount Healthy down there in Tecumseh. Bellbrook on the 6th line. They've got Miamisburg, a Division I opponent tonight. So that could be a nice little point grab for the Bellbrook Golden Eagles. They are pesky. You got Western Brown hanging at the 9 line. Western Brown is playing Washington Courthouse's Blue Lions tonight. Western Brown, of course, high-powered offense. They beat Hillsborough last week. You see Chaminade Julian on the 11 line. They got Belmont. Belmont's not going to give them any points this year. It's a wasted game, if you ask me, for CJ. And looking down farther, keep an eye on Wapakoneta. I know they lost to Marion Local last week. Marion Local is a freaking powerhouse Division 6 program. I think I accidentally called them Division 7 earlier on the broadcast. They were 7 a few years ago in New Miami's region. They've been moved up to Division 6 now, but the Marion Local Flyers have been in the state finals like 9 of the last 10 years. No matter Division 6, Division 7, they are laying it Franklin behind the woodshed tonight. No shame in that loss for Wapakoneta, but that would have been a huge win had they been able to do it. Looking at St. Francis DeSales, here is Division II, Region 7, out of the Columbus area. And this is a little bit of a mixed match of everybody. You guys in the southwest corner of the state, we're used to basically starting the line at the Ohio River and just working our way up as far as we can. A Columbus region is going to go in a number of different directions based on how many high schools there are in a particular division. And in this case, it skews a little bit toward the northeast. You see teams like Massillon, Washington there on the number 2 line. Dan, you've got some connections, I believe, with Massillon, correct?
Correct. So part of the problem is right now, he set me up, Joel set me up, I was eating pizza. And he waited until I took a huge bite.
Yeah, eat a big old bite. Eat your heart out, Dan Conway.
Waited until I took a big bite, looked at me and winked and said what he said about Massillon. My family who are up from that Massillon area, been around Massillon for a long time. Excellent program, really, really well coached. They've been able to work through some off-season situations where the coach was suspended for a little bit. He's back on the field. They just knocked off Valdosta, Georgia. Now, for those of you who don't know who Valdosta, Georgia is, Valdosta, Georgia is the winningest program in high school football right now. They came up to Massillon, who, by the way, doesn't take a backseat to hardly anybody. Number 4 in wins, number 1 in the state of Ohio.
All time.
All time, number 4 in wins and number 1 here in the state of Ohio. And Massillon knocked off Valdosta in a big win. You also look at this region, you're going to see a lot of strong teams. In specific, teams that stand out to me are, you're looking at the Licking Heights Hornets out of the Licking Valley League.
They've got Tri-Valley tonight. That's a game that DeSales keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm. They have an opportunity for some big-time wins. Johnstown's on their schedule. Big school, good team. Not really a big school. Good team, great opportunity for a game.
Yeah, they beat Johnstown last week, so that's why they've got they got 5 first-level points already. And they can get 4.5 more if Johnstown, the Johnnies, can win a game tonight.
I'm sorry, I read the schedule wrong. Yeah, the Johnnies.
That's week 1. There it is. There's Johnstown. You see it?
There we go, yeah.
Yep. Tough game against Bell Fountain there for Licking Heights in week 3. Bell Fountain Chieftains, tough opponent from Division 3, Region 11. Going back to Massillon, Washington, they opened the season with 7 straight home games. They play at the legendary Paul Brown Tiger Stadium in Massillon. It has hosted state championship games before. It's a historic venue. And so lots of teams, especially out of state, look at it almost like going to play a game at Hickory Hoosier Gym. It's a pilgrimage to play a football game. And so that means Washington, as a Division II independent, they've got Valdosta, Georgia, football royalty from almost in the Florida line down there in Georgia, coming all the way up to play them last weekend. And if you look, after they host Glen Oak and Mansfield Senior, they got Elkhart, Indiana in week 4. They got Lakewood St. Edwards coming in week 5. That's a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Then they got Middletown High School of Delaware and St. John's of Washington, D.C. coming in week 6 and 7 before they finally hit the road for the first time in week 8 to play Austintown Fitch. And then after one more home game in week 9, they will play week 10 on the road against Canton McKinley. I got to imagine that game will be at the old Fawcett Stadium Pro Football Hall of Fame, which is now known as the Tom Benson Stadium.
The other thing with Massillon that draws in, as they be able to recruit these powerhouses from other states to come in and play them, you get the opportunity to see the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Right down the road in Canton, you play a tough game on a Friday, you go see the Hall of Fame on a Saturday. Sounds like a win-win option.
That's why everybody wants to play a road game there. They had 8 home games last year. They've got 8 home games this year. Kind of remarkable. Look at Briggs. Briggs beat Whetstone last night. Joe Idle was at that game. Briggs has been a doormat for a long, long time, but they are 2-0 now for the Briggs Bruins. Good for them. Looking at Walnut Ridge and Canal Winchester, they're going to both be somewhat favorites in this region after Massillon, Washington. St. Charles and St. Francis DeSales are certainly going to be in the mix. And I want to give a shout-out to Tammy Vogt right now. The Franklin Heights Golden Falcons are there on the 9 line. Franklin Heights has lost every regular season game to an OHSAA opponent since 2019. They got their first win since the pandemic last weekend, knocking off Columbus Bexley, the Lions. So how about it? Hip, hip, hooray for Franklin Heights, the Golden Falcons. Good for them. Dublin Scioto on the 19 line. I know they lost to Grove City last week. That's a team that has been up many times in the last several years. So don't shut off the Scioto quite yet. I know they're playing Bishop Watterson tonight. 14-0 Watterson with the lead there in the first quarter of that game.
I'd also like to highlight Big Walnut right there.
Big Walnut.
If you don't know where Big Walnut is, it's over in New Albany, Ohio. And for those of you who are saying, where have I heard New Albany recently?
Little League World Series.
How about the Little League World Series? Those kids representing, congratulations on making it to Williamsport. First time an Ohio team has made it since the pandemic of 2021.
They lost that year, but hey, congratulations to Big Walnut School District, the Sunbury area. Big-time wins.
Taking a look at some of the other regions in Southwest Ohio, we got about a minute and a half left in the clock, plus the other 3 minutes then for the warm-up. Division 1, Region 4, St. Xavier had the big win last week by beating Lakota West. Low-scoring game. I believe that was 10-0 as a final. And Lakota West now gets to play a 9-game conference schedule where they will be favored every single week. And every time they win, it's going to give St. Xavier 6.5 more second-level points. So we might want to go ahead and just pencil in St. X for the one line right now.
It's a very realistic shot. The Blue Bombers will be challenging themselves big-time games against Withrow, Moeller, Elder, LaSalle, but also with schools from Kentucky, Tennessee, and
Michigan.
Well,
they got Detroit.
oh,
okay,
you said
too.
that word.
Yes, I said that word, Ohio State fan. Yes, I did. They're going to play Detroit Martin Luther King this weekend. They got McAllen, Tennessee, Trinity, Louisville, Kentucky. And then look at their Week 10 opponent. Their Week 10 opponent is Trinity from Ocala, Florida. The Trinity Shamrocks. I've actually seen them play before from the Diocese of Orlando because I taught for 3 years down there in Orlando, Florida. That game is up here, though, at Balaban. It is not down there in Ocala. That'd be a fun road trip to call a game down there, Trinity, Ocala. Looking at the rest of this, Princeton, of course, Princeton and Middletown, the only two teams in the GMC that won last weekend. That is dismal for the Greater Miami Conference because that's going to really lower the ceiling of anything that those schools can hope to attain. Only 5 schools in the entire region won their game last weekend.
A specific shout-out to the Lebanon Warriors. Congratulations to Lebanon for knocking off Springboro for the first time in a number of years.
Good for the Warriors.
Big-time win there. Lebanon really starting to come into its own in the ECC. Good fit for it, not out of the GWAC, not where they needed to be. The ECC is a much better fit as a conference.
Similar school size, and definitely. Kings, LaSalle, Turpin, these are football royalty names. You'll notice Clayton Northmont hanging out here now. They dropped down from Division 1 to Division 2. Interestingly enough, I think they're the only GWAC team that is Division 2 at this point in time. So a little GWAC presence finally in Division 2, Region 8. Edgewood got blasted by Milford last week, but they're going to try to regroup against Clinton Massey tonight, and it gets no easier for the Cougars. They've got the Baden Rams coming up next week. Other teams that are in there, Harrison, and we had mentioned earlier the idea that Northwest is coming up here to Columbus to play DeSales later on this season. Harrison, same thing. You got a three conference schedule now. You'll notice who's Harrison playing in Bishop 9. That's a familiar Columbus opponent. There's Bishop Watterson. What? So a lot of interplay going on between the Columbus area and the southwestern Ohio area due to some of these smaller conference schedules as both teams now take the field. We're down to a minute and a half warm-up, but I think they're going to cut this short, and I think we're going to cut this short as well as we come out here and get ready for the third quarter of play. Dan, we're scoreless. What do you think?
Well, both offensive lines have been able to slow down the pass rush. Both teams have gotten the ball out quickly. It's going to come down to who's got the most opportunities and who can make the most of them. 2 missed field goals by DeSales. They got to keep trusting in their kicker. Elvis is going to come out all right, all right? I was more Matthew McConaughey than Elvis. Let me think here.
All right, all right, all right. Well, St. Francis DeSales is going to get the ball first. And that's because Baden got the ball to start the first half. And so it's going to be Rowan Brown, the kickoff specialist. He's not doing any field goals this year, at least not according to plan, but he will be handling all the kickoff duties. And Baden likes to mix and match their kickoff strategy. Sometimes they'll kick deep, sometimes they'll onside it, sometimes they'll pooch something. And if you look here, Dad, if you can pan this camera, there's about a 30-yard gap of players in between this front St. Francis DeSales line and that second to St. Francis DeSales line. And sometimes when Baden studies the film study, they will try to pop a ball right into that dead man's area and see if they can basically get, first of all, they get rid of a long possible return, but second of all, they give themselves also the opportunity to land on a pseudo quasi-onside kick. 12 minutes back on the clock, and we're ready to rock and roll here at Alumni Stadium. Glad you're with us. Joel Sackenheim, Neil Sackenheim on the camera, and introducing Dan Conway as himself as the color commentator.
Looks like Hamilton put 7 on the board against Lakota East, and kick going all the way to the end zone.
It
Big
is
fumble
flubbed
right there.
and then fallen on top of by Avery Garlock. That could have been disaster. He really had a hard time getting a hold of that football, but DeSales is going to start at their own 11-yard line. Wow.
Hey, you know what? When you drop it, sometimes it's good. Just recover it. Don't make one disaster into 2. You drop the kick, didn't go well. Get on the ball and just relax. We'll move it down the field here as the time goes. And you're seeing R.J. Day come back on the field, freshman in high school, in a big-time moment.
Shout out to Hamilton Big Blue and RV Crouch for going up 7-0 there at the Hawks Nest. Chris Vogt covering that game on the radio. You can find that also on YouTube. Pull that up when we're done, right? 5 wide receivers for R.J. Day. He's going to do the quick 3-step drop and hit the quick man, Elgin. He's been everywhere in the first half. Elgin is going to get wrapped up.
That's a big-time throw. He's thrown from the hash mark on the right side of the field all the way across the other hash mark. It might only go down as a 9-yard throw, but in reality, that's probably a 25-yard throw across the field.
McCaw Samples on the tackle. Go ahead.
RJ showing off a big-time arm, and at 14 years old, he's got plenty of time to be able to grow.
And here's some good news. If you look at the bottom of the screen, guarding number 7, Jack Elgin, is number 1, Aiden Brown. He is back on the field. Remember, he was hit really hard at the last play of the first half, but apparently he does not have a concussion. He's all right. Handoff up the middle. That's Garlock.
Getting outside, breaks a tackle.
Across the 40-yard line and finally driven toward the sideline by Aiden Brown. Makes the tackle, but not before a big gain, and DeSales have got themselves out of the shadow of their own goal line.
You've got a humble young man. He was the starting quarterback last year, took a back seat and moved over to running back. But when you put the ball in his hands, magic happens. He had a big-time stop on Baden's first possession where he made a tackle on 4th down. The kid has been everywhere and has done everything right.
And good push for the offensive line there for DeSales as well. Nick Yorty mentioned that in the pregame. He's a little concerned about the size of the Stallions. Undercut opportunity for Aiden Brown, but the ball is caught, complete to Jack Elgin. He's got to have close to 10 catches by now.
Pretty close to it. The senior, that's a tough catch. Big-time possession, got his hands underneath the ball and did everything right.
Aiden Brown is looking for that pick, and here's what you wonder. Both of these teams have been very eager to do a 3-step drop, little hitch, and at some point one defensive back from one of these teams is going to try to jump that route. Aiden tried a timing up there. Handoff goes around to Jonathan Brown, not Garlock. First handoff to a different Stallion. I should say on this drive at least. They gave it to the fullback on a 3rd and 1 earlier in the game, but a 1st and 10 now for DeSales as he gets just enough to the 50-yard line to move the chains.
Good-looking sophomore tailback, 6'2", 175 pounds, and just get the ball to him in space, let him move the offense.
He's going to stay back there with him, Jonathan Brown, next to R.J. Day. Day, again, continues to take every single snap as a freshman for DeSales. And there is the handoff again. It's the same man, Jonathan Brown. He's got some speed. And DeSales' offensive line has opened up some holes on that Baden defense.
This is why you stick with the running game. They didn't have a lot of success in the first half, but you get a broken tackle on that play. And number 13 again, Jonathan Brown, gets in space, another 1st down. And like Joel said, the offensive line is starting to take control of the game. That is a big deal. We need to see 75, Ethan Kent, and the other big Baden defenders step up here.
1st down and 10 at the 35-yard line. DeSales already having driven quite a few yards in this drive. R.J. Day's going to keep it, tuck it up. He's going to gain close to the 1st down, might have a 1st down, and he does.
He does have another 1st down. That's 3 runs, 3 1st downs on this possession. The DeSales coaching staff has clearly made it said, we are going to come out and run the football, and we are going to make Baden stop it.
DeSales already has 64 yards of total offense on this drive, starting at their own 11-yard line. It's only taken them 2 minutes to do it. And now Avery Garlock back in the backfield alongside of R.J. Day.
Got a situation, they're getting close to the red zone again. They've stalled twice and kicked field goals.
Swing pass to Garlock, jukes a man, jukes another man, up the field, cutting back across the grain. Avery Garlock into the end zone for a 25-yard touchdown.
You talk about a special athlete. They got the ball out to him on the wing. He makes a guy miss, cuts it upfield, moves it across, and just kept running. Ended up in the end zone. DeSales breaking the scoreless tie. 9:33 left in the third quarter, and we have our first offensive points of the game.
A strong statement coming out of the locker room for the Stallions. And it looks like we're going to have a different kicker on the field now for the extra point. Looks like this is going to be Leo Amalaman.
He's in the official program and roster as a linebacker / kicker.
He's lefty.
He is.
Amalaman for the extra point. It's not up.
Snap was bobbled.
Bad snap. It's going to be tackled, and it's going to be no good. And so the Baden defense makes a play, or maybe the St. Francis DeSales special teams doesn't make a play. And with 9:33 left to go in the third quarter of play, the Stallions strike first blood with a 6-0 lead. Shout out to Anthony DiGregorio back listening at home. He, of course, his fantasy football team, the Longboat Italian, it's supposed to be Stallions, but it doesn't fit on ESPN's website, so we had to be short an L. He is instead the Stallion. So we have the Stallions up here, the Stallion back home, listening in on our game. Couple other scores. St. Charles has kicked a field goal right as time expired in the first half. And so the Cardinals lead Beechcroft 24-6 at halftime. That's a Central Catholic League opponent for DeSales. And in the second quarter, here's a game Baden fans will care about. Western Hills has just put in a touchdown. So the Mustangs and Roger Bacon are tied 14-all in the second quarter.
Opportunity for Elvis to come out here and make a kick. Anytime you can mention Elvis on a football field, it's nope, it's actually going to be Leo.
Amalanan again.
Amalanan again, yeah. Good to see the junior out there.
Looks like Mason's got a 7-0 lead over Oak Hills. Sycamore takes the opening touchdown drive over Fairfield, 7-0 there, it looked like. And it looks like Fairfield has then since scored, so 7-all between Sycamore and the Fairfield Indians. Pooch kick, going to be maybe out of bounds, still in bounds, and finally down instead by Eli Little. You know, I want to give credit to Eli Little. He's a senior linebacker. I don't remember calling his name a whole lot. We had 4 Baden games we called last year. I don't hardly ever remember calling his name. Nick Yorty, when he talked to us before the game, he said, even though we're older and we're senior laden, some guys played a lot and some guys didn't play a lot. And so the idea of playing 4 full quarters is still new to some of these seniors, even though you can call them seniors and experienced. How experienced really are they? Eli Little, props to you, young man. You've had a heck of a game so far.
One also a heads-up play there. DeSales could have come in, recovered that, and then we would see Hamilton be in a lot of trouble. Let's see here what Ritzy does. You got a man in motion.
Swing pass. Aiden Brown in space.
You put the ball, in his hands. Granted, there's 4 purple jerseys right there waiting for him. DeSales knows where number 1 is at all times.
Elder leading Saints Newman and Goretti of Pennsylvania, 21-14. Somebody play us. Anybody play us. St. X, Elder, Moeller going out of state to find all of these opponents.
Well, you read Moeller playing their first 4 games against the state of Indiana.
Oof. They're playing Bishop Dwenger, I believe, tonight. Play action fake across the middle, and you can hear the banging on the table next door in the Baden coaching box. That play, that pass to Carson Cheek has been open all evening. And Ritzy has just been a little bit high, Cam Newtoning these throws all night.
3 times on that play, 3 times it's been an overthrow. He's got to set his feet and make the throw. He's overthinking it right now. Let's get him some basic food. Let's calm him down. Good throw, but it's 3rd and 6. You don't have time for that. You got to be big.
Roll out right. Look slant underneath. Decides to take it back the other way. Ritzy going to try to break a tackle. Is at the 40-yard line. He's going to be short. It's going to be 4th and 2. This is very tricky situation for Yorty here. I know every aggressive instinct in his body would love to go for this. You don't want to give DeSales the ball right back after they took it right down your throats. But 4th and 2, the way your offenses look tonight, it's definitely not a gimme. And indeed, the punting unit and Ben Saycash is going to come on the field. Quick snap. There's an end-over-end kick, not long.
It's going to take a nice Baden roll and go inside the 40, almost down to the 30. Nope, it'll get to the 35. 34-yard line there for the Hamilton-Baden Rams. And DeSales, they came out, they ran the ball, they punched you in the mouth. Baden, this is the first time you have trailed all year. How does your defense, the anchor of your team, respond?
DeSales scored 14 points against Baden in week 2 last year. Baden is not used to giving up any points at all. Last year, looking at Baden's overall schedule, they gave up 20 points to Tippecanoe in the game that they lost. They gave up 21 to CJ. That's the only time anybody broke 20 all year long against them. Up the middle and tackled Ettinger. That would be Drew Ettinger on the stop, and a loss. So Baden's defense trying to rise up to the task there, Dan, and respond exactly as you asked for. Defense knows you can't afford to get down by 2 scores.
RJ Day with the right read, just a great play by the Baden defense. You're playing greatness out there right now. They're
John, go ahead.
They're spreading them out, going across the 30s, all the way across this field, trying to make Baden as uncomfortable as possible. Watch for a QB draw or something.
Jonathan Brown, the running back there now, not Garlock.
There's
Brown,
the run.
Brown had a very good drive last drive. Garlock was the one who punched into the end zone. He had been almost exclusively the running back in the first half. Fresh legs in Jonathan Brown. He is a sophomore.
Smooth runner, long legs, easy run, getting out in space. This kid is going to be electric, and he will be a handful for future opponents of DeSales. You're hearing a lot of young names, freshman quarterback, sophomore running back. There's veteran leadership on this team too, and they have held up at the point of attack.
Throw on a 3-step drop. Aiden Brown is getting more aggressive on this. That was Jack Elgin getting blown up at the point of attack. That would have been enough for a first down, but Brown was able to dislodge him, keep the first down completion from happening. And I'd be very wary if I'm DeSales about a pick 6, because Aiden Brown is timing this up. And if you're DeSales, you almost might want to call a sluggo at some point in time, one of those slant and goes where you can get a pump fake and get Brown to bite it. If you think RJ Day can beat him over the top, it's an opportunity that sometime in the fourth quarter will be there for the Stallions.
High snap on the punt. It's going out right.
Hangs up
Get
in the
away
air,
from it.
almost hits. Almost hits Samples in the head, but does not. DeSales is going to down this ball. It's kind of whirly birding around the 37-yard line. Go ahead.
Good field position here for Baden. They've got an opportunity to get right back in this game and take the lead.
Couple other scores, Baden, for your GCL comrades out there. Chaminade Julien, second quarter, now leads Belmont by a score of 53-0. Poor Belmont Bison after losing 76-0 last week to Urbana. It's 53-0 now to Chaminade. McNicholas trailing in the second quarter on the road, 7-3. The Wheelersburg Pirates have the lead. Carroll and Tecumseh scoreless in the second quarter. Fenwick leading Talawanda 28-0 in the first quarter. First down and 10 for the Rams, who have much more important business with DeSales at present time. Quinn Brennan on the quick little 3-step hitch. It's been there all night long. And that comfort food route gets 4 yards for the Rams.
Really nice tackle there by Kingston Johnson, a sophomore making a big-time hit and a big-time stop. But like you said, it's been there all day. Ritzy's going to have to throw the ball down the field accurately, especially when he moves. He's been high all night long.
Second down and 6.
Sending Brown in motion, and there he is. He's got the ball in space. You're holding your breath if you're DeSales.
He threw it behind him just a little bit. He didn't really lead him on the throw. That was a little short. Brown had to kind of slow down and kind of backtrack to face that ball, but he does indeed get some yardage. It's going to be third and short. We've got an injured Stallion on the field.
Looks like it's number 23, Max Shula again. That's not a good sign. We've talked about his story a little bit earlier. The kid is 51-0 in wrestling. Oh, wait, no, Max is comforting his teammate who's on the ground. Max is just fine.
This time. That's all good, bud. It's all good. Second quarter. Out in Clarksville, the Edgewood Cougars. They took it on the chin from Milford last week, and they're not having much more luck with Clinton Massey. It's 21-0 in favor of the Falcons. Baden would love to see Edgewood win this game tonight.
It looks like it's Avery Garlick is the injured player.
Ooh.
Avery has been a monster tonight for DeSales. He's up and running now. That's a good sign. Number 0.
He was the one that stopped the first drive defensively, and then he had the touchdown.
Yeah.
The only
Hopefully
touchdown
he's
game.
back as soon as he can be. The kid has been electric tonight and has absolutely deserved player of the game right now for DeSales.
A lot of respect from both of these teams. They both see each other as definitely a team to be feared. No doubt about that.
You got 3rd and short here. Let's see what they do. Do they trust Ritzy and throw the ball here, or do they run it downhill? Lim Grayson is in the backfield. Let's see what Lim does.
Looks like a pistol formation right now. They look over to get the call. They're looking at the defense. Big defensive front. You got a chance to go deep to Brennan on the bottom side of the screen here. Press coverage if you want it.
Quick pass,
Quick out instead, and that is complete to Carson Cheek.
Big boy hit there by Carson Cheek. Woo! That's exactly what you want to see.
And it's good from a Baden perspective to see Cheek and Ritzy be able to connect, because those two have been the two that have been just ever so slightly off rhythm all night long. Nice first down game.
Another first down there for Baden. They're moving the offense, and they did not huddle. They are in the hurry-up.
But then they're looking over at the bench. Grayson's still back there as the running back. It's going to be a quick hitch.
That is the 4th pass in a row. Another quick hitch out there.
Austin Buckle on the catch. It's been there all night. Little 3-yard gain or so.
3 yards in a cloud of dust had a different meaning when our dads were little.
Oh, yeah, it did. 3 yards in a cloud of field pellets now, right? Rubber pellets.
Oh, those are the worst.
2nd and 4. They actually got 6 yards on that play.
3 yards on the catch, 3 yards on the route.
Pretty good stuff. Looks like Roger Bacon has just taken the lead, 20-14 over Western Hills. So good news there for the Baden Rams.
Deepest penetration of the night here for Baden. Let's see what they do. Ritzy passing for the 5th time. Ritzy taking a shot.
That's Aiden Brown, and it's incomplete. Good coverage on the play. That's Kingston Johnson. He's had some very nice coverage on several passing plays, but damn, that looked like a more confident throw from Ritzy.
It did. He set his feet, and he was right where he needed to be with the football. The thing is this, number 19, Kingston Johnson, the kid looks like a star.
He's been making all kinds of plays on defense. Ain't no doubt about that. 3rd and 4. They're playing Hell's Bells here at St. Francis de Sales.
Interesting song choice here.
All Catholic schools, right?
I didn't want to say it. 6 pass in a row, incomplete. High rush the throw. Looked like the receiver was out of position there. Austin Buckle.
Austin Buckle. They'll probably go for this, I would think.
4th and about 4. This is the right spot on the field to be aggressive, and you've shown trust in Ritzy. He's brought you this far. Let's see if he can do it again. The offensive line for Baden has to pick this up. DeSales is not going to blitz. They haven't blitzed all game long.
You wonder if they almost might try to cross them up with a draw play here.
Be an interesting
It's something
thought.
up the middle. Yordi has not been back there as a running back since early in the game. Grayson's back there right now. Looks like you got a 3-man down line for DeSales.
They're going to rush 3. If they can get pressure, they'll get a stop.
And a timeout is going to be taken by the Rams.
4:12 left here in the 3rd quarter. It's 6-0 DeSales. The Imperial March was just playing in the background.
That's
Great
enough
song.
to intimidate anybody, right?
It is.
And since it is a Catholic school, maybe it's not actually Hell's Bells. Maybe it's Purgatory's bells. No comment, says the Protestant pastor.
Former.
So,
Good environment here by the crowd. They've
Oh,
been
yeah.
getting into it, trying to intimidate the Baden student section here and the Baden team, making a lot of noise, being very disruptive. You got to love seeing it. This is why high school football is so great. The bands, the crowds, the cheerleaders, and, of course, the game itself.
and the second level points.
And the second level points.
This game is going to be a points bonanza for one of these two teams. I imagine if Baden comes back and wins this, DeSales is going to win a lot of games this year, and DeSales certainly knows that they can hold on and win this. Baden is going to be worth a bunch.
High risk, high reward. That's the joy of high school football games like this.
One thing that Ryan Wiggins, the head coach of DeSales, told us before the game is an advantage of the expanded playoffs is you can really choose to schedule up. It's not going to kill you if you lose a game like this, so you can challenge yourself. DeSales has made it up to the challenge all night long. 5 wide receivers. You've got Buckle and Yordy to the top of your screen. You got Brown and Brennan and Cheek at the bottom. And it's a quick hit to Yordy, and it's looked into and completed.
And the first red zone trip of the night for the Baden Rams. Yordy, being a physical, tough kid, coach's son right there, acted like the coach's son and makes a great play.
Nick Yordy, the head coach, did tell us before the game that he probably needs to enjoy coaching his son a little bit more than he does his senior year because it will be gone soon.
If they can punch this in and take the lead, I know he'll be enjoying this evening more.
1st and 10 for the Rams. Lem Grayson again back in the backfield. We've not seen Yordy featured near as much as I thought we would. It's been the Grayson show, and this is Lem Grayson.
Ooh, what a cut right there.
Slashing cut, but I think this is going to come back to a holding penalty.
It will, but what a cut. I think the hold is on the right guard. Just a tough out-of-position play. Lem Grayson is just a special ball carrier right now.
Oh, he's very, very shifty. It was very noticeable against Roger Bacon when we saw him last year. This penalty happened, it looks like about 3 yards from the line of scrimmage, so they're going to mark it off, not from the line of scrimmage, but from the place where the flag was thrown.
One of the things about two teams that are well coached, there's only been 2 penalties in this game. This one, and then there was a offside earlier in the game. Oh, and a pass interference. 3 penalties in the game. Really well-disciplined teams. Week 2 of high school football. Normally you're going to see a lot of offsides, little things like that. Both teams really understand how important this game is for standings, and you can just feel it. They understand what they're trying to do.
This is really interesting. They marked it from the line of scrimmage. I don't know if they threw the flag on the wrong place, and the foul happened actually at the line, but it's going to be 1st and 20 for the Rams. Ritzy's going to try to run with this. Now he's going to throw it, and just throws it away.
Great decision there. Don't do something dumb. Get rid of the football. Live to fight on 3rd down. You want to get about half the yardage here so that way it's 4th and manageable, or it's a makeable kick. Right now it's a 46-yard field goal. That's not an easy kick for a college team, much less a high school team with a new kicker.
Warner's range about 35. However, you've got an extra down here because remember the first down play, the run, was a holding penalty, so you get the down back.
Oh.
So it's only going to be 2nd and 20. That's to Baden's advantage there. Now
4 to the right.
Yes, quad receivers. Roll out right. Gonna
Oh,
throw
it's going
back
to be a
left
back
to
screen.
Yordy.
Well defended there by DeSales.
And broken.
He gets out of the jam.
Yordy is going to be wrapped up a little bit, still moving. That play was dead in the water. Should have been a loss of 5 yards. And instead, Yordy fights and fights and fights. Picks up about 7 yards.
Just a heads-up play. First off, let's give credit to the DeSales defense. They read that thing like a book. And the thing is, when you put the ball in a great athlete's hand like number 7, Zach Yordy is, he is going to make plays, and he did. 3rd down and +10 here. Let's see how aggressive Coach Yordy is. His son just gave him a gift. Let's see if he takes advantage.
I think now at this point in time, you're thinking 2 plays to get this. Throw down the middle, and it's once again behind that slant route of Carson Cheek. It's just not been quite timed right. This will be a long field goal attempt if they're going to try it. And it looks like the kicker, Nick Warner, is going to try this field goal from 40 yards out.
Senior kicker, this is going to be from the
41.
left hash.
41-yard attempt.
So right-footed kicker, left hash. This is the hardest kick in football.
The kick is up.
Good snap, good
He's
hold.
got some distance.
Did he hit it?
It's
How
good.
about that, young man? Way to go.
41-yard field goal for Warner. Yordy told us before the game that he thought the kicker's range was about 35 yards, give or take the wind. How about 41 right true down the center?
You got a senior. I'll tell you what, you send that out to some colleges, you just earn a scholarship, kid. It just depends where you want to go.
6'3" now in this. I don't know if we should call this a defensive struggle or an offensive struggle.
It's been a little bit of both. 2:27 left. You got to believe DeSales is going to come out here and run the football. And like you've said, the sluggo route, slant and go. run the route they've been running all night, pump fake it, and have that receiver run behind Aiden Brown. It might be there, and that could be a game wrecker.
I'm going to call this now. Sometime in the fourth quarter, there's going to be a play on that route that's going to open up the game. I don't know if it's going to be a slant and go in favor of DeSales and getting Jack Elgin loose, or if it's going to be Aiden Brown himself jumping that regular slant route because he's trying to time that thing. He's getting closer and closer, and if he can time it, he's got pick six, which is exactly how Baden beat them last year.
It is.
2:27 left in the third. Go ahead.
Want to shout out to Hamilton. 14-0 lead over Lakota East. John Kitten is building a powerhouse there. Just give him some time.
Kickoff goes long. It is going to be returned. That's Elazar Hood, and he is wrapped up on special teams by number 33. That's Trent Owens, the sophomore linebacker. Good for Trent to make a tackle there. And so DeSales is going to start this next drive at their own 24-yard line.
Nick Warner with a great kick. When you as a kicker make a long field goal and then you have to go out there and kick it from the kickoff position, it's a hard thing to do. Kid made a great play there.
Halftime score at Braun Basevich. The Roger Bacon Spartans lead Western Hills 20-14. Roger Bacon will be playing Baden in week 4.
Roger Bacon is a good team. They've struggled a little bit since they lost their running back that went off to
Corey
UC.
Kiner.
Yeah, kid is an amazing talent.
Handoff goes up the middle. That is Jonathan Brown, and this time he's undercut and red. Looks like we got Nick Rings, number 31, involved in that tackle, as well as Eli Little, number 9, who has been anything but little for the Baden defense tonight.
He had that great play on the kickoff. Number 31 in there. Like we talked about Nick Rings, he's a senior. They know how to be smart. They know how to be good. Let's see if Hamilton Baden can continue the way they played last possession when they had a 3-and-out.
2nd and 10. 3-step drop. Hitch route. Complete to Knowles. Wrapped up really quickly. The defender there on the play is Samples.
Long throw across the field. It only went for 2 or 3 yards, but the thing is you can see R.J. Day's arm strength. He puts that thing, that's a 25-yard throw. It only goes for 2 or 3, but that's a long throw.
And there was a lot of room there. If that tackle isn't made, it's easily a first down and some extra yardage on top of that.
And with as fast as he is, that could have been easily a touchdown.
Day has got 4 receivers to the left side. He's going to roll left, try to come back, possibly a hold, not quite. Going to try to spring it loose, is wrapped up and then driven out of bounds by the nose tackle and a late flag. Ethan Kent drove him out of bounds. I think he was definitely inbounds when he hit him. Did he give him something extra? That I don't know.
It'll be interesting. You want to protect the quarterback at all costs. It's a tough play. It'll be interesting. Nope, they're going to call personal foul on it.
Dead ball, personal foul, Baden, and Yordi cannot love that flag. That was borderline. Borderline.
Yeah, he's chewing out the ref. He's not chewing out his defender. He thinks that was a bad call.
The contact was definitely inbounds where it started. And, yeah, Yordi over there, you can see him on the sideline talking to the white hat. Hey, Dad, get him. Too late. Yep. Yeah, Yordi is not tremendously thrilled with that call. Let the referee know about that.
You've got to protect the quarterback at all costs. It's not something you want to see, but at the end of the day, protection is important, and it looks like DeSales is going to give him 5 yards right there with a penalty.
Do we have a false start? Do we have just the whistle hadn't been blown or the ball hadn't been properly spotted yet? Let's see what we got. Talking to the back judge. The back judge is the one who threw the flag. Dead ball, delay of game. Now, I find that also very interesting because the ball was spotted a little late. The referee wasn't even in position because Yordi was busy talking to him on the sideline, and yet the back judge kept perfect time and called the flag for delay of game. Interesting little series on the officiating, though, here going in both directions.
In basketball, they would call that a makeup call.
In Firewall, Dad, the old line, I don't hate you, I just don't care about you. And the referees are trying to figure out what's going on. We got a 6-man crew tonight.
They've done a good job. They've kept the game going. There was a little bit of a pause at one point. We never figured out why. But the refs, for week 2, they've done a good job.
This is interesting. They moved the chains back. So it's going to stay 1st and 10, but they're moving the chains back, which means they probably didn't have it spotted correctly to begin with. They probably marched off 20 yards instead of 15. Curious sequence from an officiating standpoint here.
I take back what I said about they've done a good job this evening.
There have not been a lot of flags thrown. I don't think there's been a lot of penalties committed. Both these teams have played pretty disciplined all game long. Quick little out pattern. Ball batted up in the air, intended for Avery Garlock. That didn't have much of a prayer as Baden's defensive line was on R.J. Day pretty quick.
Royce Rachel right there. If you can't get to the ball as a defensive lineman, get your hands up and make it hard for the quarterback to throw. R.J. Day is 6 foot tall. Royce Rachel is 6 foot as well. You have a young man stretching out his arms, making that a harder throw. That's why that was incomplete, and it keeps Avery Garlock from hurting this Hamilton-Baden defense worse than he already has.
2nd down and 10 for DeSales. Man in motion, and it is a toss sweep to Walker. Michael Walker is going to cut it upfield. There is a flag thrown.
It looks like
again being very vocal on the sideline. I think he wanted a hold of some sort, and he might get his wish.
I think it was. That play right there, really well designed with all the former quarterbacks that DeSales has. What is stopping them from running that play, having him set his feet and throw a ball deep?
Holding penalty on St. Francis DeSales. It'll be a 10-yard penalty. Keller Moten with the touchdown run for Cuyahoga Falls Walsh Jesuit, and the 2-point conversion is good. The Warriors and the Trojans of McDowell, Erie, Pennsylvania tied 28-28 midway through the 3rd quarter. Walsh Jesuit is DeSales' opponent next week, already 1-0, trying to rack up even more second-level points in that matchup.
Represent Ohio, boys. Represent Ohio.
And that's going to be a false
you got
start.
a false start on that play's dead.
Bryce Herrick. That's going to be a 5-yard penalty. It's going to be 2nd and 25.
This game was really smooth. It was well played. Not a lot of penalties. You've seen 3 or 4 on this possession. Both teams are starting to get tired. A number of players are going both ways. Specifically, you're looking at Avery Garlock and you're looking at Aiden Brown, the 2 superstars for each team. Is fatigue beginning to set in?
2nd and 25. DeSales, here's another really good score for you guys. 2nd quarter. Tri-Valley Scotties lead Licking Heights 21-0.
Apparently, if I say something nice about your team, you lose tonight. Sorry, Licking Heights.
Hand up the middle. That is Garlock. Matt Vogt loves to call that the give-up play when they do it on 3rd down. They're actually going to lose 2 yards. It's going to go to 3rd and 27.
Nate Ossendorf and then Royce Rachel, both of them coming in there, knifing in the backfield, making a play. Baden should get good field position here as the 3rd quarter ends with DeSales leading 6-3.
Well, it's been a 30-some yard touchdown for the flashy tailback Avery Garlock. He scored both touchdowns last year against Baden and has put the leading score on the board for DeSales to make it 6-0. And then a 41-yard field goal for Nick Warner. How about the leg on that kid? And that's been honestly a huge difference in the game. We thought DeSales might have the kicking advantage. It has not been so, as Elvis Castro Alvarado has missed 2 31-yard field goals in the first half, and Nicholas Warner has capitalized on a 41-yard field goal in the second half. 6-3, and Baden is very much in this game.
Not to mention there was a dropped extra point as well. You had a bad snap, and then the snap was fumbled. So the kicking game has bit DeSales in the butt 3 times tonight. What Baden's got to do, they got to get the quarterback, Alex Retzi, going. If he can get some confidence, make some big-time throws, and especially if he can hit that little over-the-middle route that he's missed on 4 times tonight. Get it 1 time, and Baden's up by 4.
Bishop Watterson has taken a 28-0 lead over Dublin Scioto, the Irish. Good news for DeSales there. And at halftime, Bloom Carroll leads Bishop Hartley in a nail-biter, 21-17 for the Bulldogs, defending Division III state runners-up.
Trying to climb the mountain and get all the way to the top this year.
3rd and 27.
Day staying calm, moving.
Dumps the ball off, and as long as this is tackled, it won't be any big danger, and it's not. Michael Walker makes the catch.
Really clutch play there. by DeSales. You pick up 17 yards. That's 17 more yards that Baden has to go against your defense. They've had one really good drive. It stalled in the red zone because of penalties, and they had to kick a field goal that they didn't think they were going to make. 17 yards, big play right there in the game on the first play of the fourth quarter.
Absolutely true, and those are hidden yards that people won't be talking about too much, but it does make a difference. The punter, Brendan Ballard on the field.
Better snap that time, and a great punt by DeSales.
But he might have outkicked his coverage.
He did. A little too great. Nice block there by 3. Way to not clip.
Josh Familia going to run this back.
Really want to highlight Austin Buckle there. He did not clip his defender when he did not need to. Good play. Once again, you talk about hidden yardage. This drive is going to start at the 36. If he clips him there, it's starting inside the 20.
And I'm going to correct myself. That was not Josh Familia. That was Carson Cheek, 21. It looks like 27 from over here because the 1s and the 7s with this Baden font look almost identical.
They do.
Baden last year had the big old huge enormous square numbers, and it was a little easier to call than some of these other fonts that we see creeping in there.
Do you need to give me some, or do you, I was about ready to try to burn you there, and I messed
up.
On
the square numbers?
I was going to say some binoculars, but yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And the numbers are big enough to read. It's just the font is a little bit challenging.
All right, let's see what Ritzy does here. They threw 6 passes in a row on their last drive. The kid's been good. He needs to be great if they're going to win.
And it would help if you could hit the Carson Cheek crossing route.
It would.
That has been off. It's been 20 yards available all game long. Cheek is going to go in motion. And there's a short pass to Cheek. Watch for a possible throw. No, he's going to go ahead and run it. It was a backward pass. That's probably a rushing attempt, actually.
Big boy football there, lowering the shoulder, and you see DeSales not afraid to have contact. They push him down, give up only 4. A lot of schools, that kid gets run over. Great tackle. And was that number 0, Avery Garlock?
Garlock on the play.
If you're talking about a great play tonight, just say Avery Garlock. It's probably him.
Bishop Reedy now leads Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy 42-16 in the third quarter.
Ooh.
Belmont down to Chaminade Julian 60-0 at halftime.
Maybe we don't need to. Poor Belmont.
And Fenwick up 35-0 in the second quarter over poor Andy Stuckert's Talawanda Brave. Just one Brave. Just one. Pass goes again to Brennan.
Pass has been there all night.
All night long.
Good call. Get him some confidence. But, hey, it's third and manageable. And with the way that you've got Lim Grayson in the backfield, get him in space. Let him make somebody miss. You've got a chance to do something great. Baden is bringing in a new offensive lineman to add some muscle up front. This might be some big boy football from the Rams trying to push around a tired DeSales front.
And as every NFL public address announcer ever says, it's third down.
I can't help but notice your song's playing again.
Purgatory's Bells.
Purgatory's Bells.
3rd and 2. Watch out, man lined up on defense, offside.
Free play, but it's
it's dead in high school. It's dead in high school. Kingston Johnson on the top of the screen, guarding the wide receiver, lined up in the neutral zone. Realized it at the very last second and tried to get back, but it was too late. The line judge throws the flag, 5-yard penalty, and that's a very easy 3rd and 2 conversion. It's as easy as it comes.
It is. That's one of those plays you're going to check back later in the game and see first down penalty.
Halftime at Big Red Hughes. Dixie Heights, the Colonels lead Hughes 13-8. Tight game there. Baden plays Hughes in 3 weeks. Long throw for Ritzy. He doesn't want it. Eats it instead and throws it away.
Smart play. Don't put the ball at risk. Good decision. Just throw it away.
DeSales had double coverage on a couple different receivers way back deep in the secondary. Ritzy wanted to go long with that ball.
Aiden Brown is always going to have a purple crowd around him.
They have bottled him up really, really nicely tonight. I'm sure they looked at the game film of last year's game and saw Aiden Brown and thought, we are not going to let that happen again.
No, they're not. Let's see what happens here as far as you've got 9 minutes and 11 seconds left, and they've got the power back in there in Zach Yordy. Let's see if he can deliver another punishing run.
Yordy's going to go out deep. It says the screen to Brennan. Brennan's going to try to tuck it up and get a couple blocks, and he's going to gain about 4 or 5 yards, a nice, healthy chunk. It's going to make it 3rd and manageable again.
Quinn Brennan, young man, has just kept making plays. He's been open on that little comeback route all game long, and they've given Ritzy some confidence with that. There seems to be a connection there. Why are they not using him on that going over the middle route? Is that the difference?
I don't know. I mean, is that a Ritzy thing? Is it a Cheek thing? Is it just the timing's just not quite been there thing? It's hard to say.
Third and a medium here. Let's see what happens. Ritzy, confidence in the pocket, taking off.
He's
Great
got a
decision.
room to run.
Great decision right there.
First down to the 40-yard line. I think DeSales might have only set about a two-man rush there. Dropped about 9 men in coverage.
They were ready for the pass, and you saw Ritzy, the senior, knows what he's doing, didn't like what he saw, took off, and said, I'm getting this first down.
1st and 10 Rams, 8:17 and counting left in the fourth quarter of this titanic struggle.
Starting to see a little bit of momentum here with the boys in white and green. You got to wonder, Ritzy has made some big throws, just barely missed them. Is he got it one in him?
This is a handoff to Grayson up the middle, and he steams ahead for about 6 yards.
5'8",
Slippery.
180-pound sophomore. Clock is running here, 7:50 left. Baden is clearly putting their eggs in this basket and saying, we're going to score a touchdown on this drive. Second and medium.
With 7.5 left, each team might have about one more drive left in them in regulation. I say regulation because if Baden gets stalls in the field goal range, 6-6 is very much in the realm of possibility.
And you got to feel good about yourself and your kicker.
Handoff again to Grayson up the middle.
Nice cut.
Easily
Found the
done.
hole. Runs somebody
Boom.
over. Big boy football right there. The young man found the hole and then just moves through it so quickly, so efficiently. This is somebody who is a superstar in the making for the Baden Rams.
Quick burst of speed. And what great experience he's getting tonight as well. 5'8". He's a little scat back. Kind of a Darren Sproles type of build to him.
Now you compare him to Darren Sproles. That's a great comparison.
Slippery.
Timeout DeSales. They're trying to change the momentum of this game. They've had their defense give up some big plays here. Let's see what goes on. 6-3. DeSales with the lead. Only 2 timeouts for both teams.
Dad mentioned when we talked to Coach Yordi before the game, and Yordi had told us how much he didn't love a 2-hour drive. It's a lot shorter of a drive home if you win than it is if you lose.
It is.
Both of which are very strong possibilities at this point in time. Offense has been really hard to come by. I shouldn't say that too much, though. It's not like the defenses have forced an absolute punt fest here.
No,
Both offenses have had some success moving the ball between the 20s. DeSales has gotten bogged down in the red zone. Baden has gotten stuck right around the 50 or the 40-yard line a lot of times, only got down to the red zone once.
This is the opportunity for them to put the touchdown on the board. When you look at this game, it has come down to red zone play. DeSales has 1 in the red zone. Baden has 0. DeSales has the lead.
Looking for other scores. End of the third quarter, the St. Charles Cardinals lead the Cougars of Beechcroft 24-12. That's a conference opponent in the Central Catholic League for DeSales. 7:07 remaining. Both teams 2 timeouts left in the fourth quarter. It's a 1st and 10 for Baden. They're at the 21-yard line, just barely knocking on the outside of the red zone here. Grayson, the running back. Fake to him.
Good fake.
Roll
He's
out
open.
to
He's
Yordi.
open.
It is complete. And Yordi is going to have about 3 yards or so.
Big time tackle there by junior linebacker Dane Crabtree. That is the first time all night that they have gotten Yordi down on the first contact. You just made a big tackle to keep this game from exploding. 2nd and 8 here. What is your counterpunch, Baden?
Yordi has been a very challenging man to tackle, but they've been lining him up more at an H-back tight end wide receiver spot than as a straight running back. I find it a little surprising, but maybe I shouldn't. They like Grayson back there as a running back, and here is Grayson. He's going to try to bounce it outside.
He bounced it outside, yeah.
He cuts it up a little bit, but is met by Crabtree again.
Well, and you know who just made the play? Cameron Gwynn, the Boston College commit. Jeff Hafley's going to be watching this tape saying, I can't wait to coach that young man. Gwynn forced that play back inside. A lot of teams are going to give up on that play, and you're going to watch Lim Grayson run around him, score a touchdown, and Joel and I are going to high-five as it's a 9-6 game. Instead, Gwynn makes the play, pushes it back inside. He's got plenty of purple help, and it's now 3rd and 7 instead of 7 points on the board for Baden.
3rd and 7 Rams. They are in field goal range.
Timeout
Baden.
by DeSales. Again, that's DeSales.
That's Baden's timeout.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That is Baden's timeout.
I
Yes, sir.
apologize.
That's all right. It's your first night out here on the job, Dan Conway. You're doing a really, really nice job. And if anybody has a problem with the job he's doing, raise your hand. I don't see any hands raised, so we're good. All right.
You can't script this. The DeSales student section just did a whole giant hand
They did.
Every kid in their
Every
student
kid up there
section
raised his
just
hand. Dan Conway, you suck. You did not do a good job. By the way, on the way up here, my dad decided that Dan's vocals sound like the Cheez-It cheese that was rejected for not being quite ready.
Let's just talk about football.
.542 remaining here at Alumni Stadium. A very important 3rd down. Baden does not have near the distance in the secondary because they are now in the red zone. DeSales can come down a little higher on these receivers. Baden is in field goal range. It looks like whatever wind is blowing, it might be a little bit into Baden's face, but not much. Looking at the flag over there on the left side, just off the screen.
Aiden Brown needs to make a play
Roll
here.
out, he's got
He's
Yordi,
open.
didn't see him. Instead, he's going to the short route, that's Brennan. And Brennan is inside the 10-yard line, and it is a first down. They had 2 receivers open. Yordi might have had a touchdown. He didn't see him on the play. Went to Brennan instead. Good decision. He was open. Hit him for the first down. 1st and goal at the 6. 5.5 minutes and counting.
Quinn Brennan again. The kid has been electric tonight. If he doesn't have 10 catches, he's going to have it soon.
Easy, easy. Brennan's been the #1 receiver for Baden. Hand off to Yordi up the middle.
Big boy football right here. You got your power
And he's
back
met
in.
up the middle.
And number 23, the wrestler, Max Shula, 51-0. He's not going to lose on the football field. He doesn't lose in the wrestling ring.
1 yard gain, and we have an injured DeSales player, and that's Cameron Gwynn.
The good news is Gwynn is up and moving. There's 5 minutes and 5 seconds left here in the 4th quarter. His teammates are going to give him a high five as he comes off the field.
The good news is that he's coming off the field. The bad news is he has to be off the field for 1 play. And with it being 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line, and that's your linebackers going to Boston College.
Yeah, that's your...
I don't know that you want him off the field for this play.
6'2", 250 pounds. He's the 2nd biggest player on their, or he's the 3rd biggest player on their team. Kid is a playmaker. You're going to have to look for Avery Garlick and others to step up here. Let's see what happens. The power back in Yordi is not in the backfield. They're going to go with Grayson instead, the speedster.
St. Charles punches in with a 30-12 lead over Beechcroft. Here we go, 2nd and goal. Grayson.
He got outside.
Try to punch it up, and he's down to the 1 yard line.
Let's see if Gwynn comes back on the field. He'd have been there to stuff that.
And looks like number 6 is coming back out there. That's Cameron Gwynn. I know what Danny Boat would say right now, Dad. Baden's not taking a single snap from under center all game long. We'll see if they can run a quarterback sneak or something like that. It looks like they have a shotgun with Ritzy. Hand off to Grayson, up the middle. And
Touchdown,
he is in.
Rams. The Baden offensive line took control of that drive. The receiver, you had Quinn Brennan make a big catch there on a 3rd down. And Ritzy, he's not been great with the football all night, but he made some big throws right there. And DeSales will now trail with 4 minutes and 21 seconds left. They've got 2 timeouts. And we're going to remind you, R.J. Day is their quarterback, a young freshman getting his first big action.
Very important extra point here. Scroll that a hair down, Dad. Kick is up. And the kick is good. The reason that is so big is because now a 4-point game, a field goal will not help DeSales out at all. Well, Dan, first Baden game. What do you think?
This is great. Gotta love football right here. Where else would you rather be on a Friday night? We're sitting here watching 2 teams slug it out, giving it their all. this is what high school football is all about. The band is great. There's a big student section here for DeSales. The teams are playing a hard-fought game, well coached.
And a reminder, to the winner of this game, to the victor goes the spoils.
Yeah.
A lot of second-level points.
High risk, high reward scheduling a team like DeSales, scheduling a team like Baden. And once again, you're seeing what we talked about. Baden's got 4 guys at the 25 and 4 guys at midfield. They are ready for anything that Baden's going to throw at them.
Be kind of gutsy to call it one of those pooch onside kicks right here, though. I don't know. It looks like Rowan Brown's going to kick it off. We're going to, first of all, have Samples. Has to run off for an equipment problem, so they're going to run in Austin Buckle instead in special teams.
Great job by the ref there. Get him off the field. If there's some kind of problem with a face mask or something with his chin strap, don't want to risk a player getting hurt.
Rowan Brown lines it up, ready to rock and roll. Kicks it deep. And it's flubbed.
That's the second time he's flubbed it.
That's, again, the same tailback, Avery Garlock, the one who has the touchdown today, the one who had both touchdowns last year. And, yeah, you're right, Dan. That's the second time he's really cost DeSales in terms of opening field position.
The former quarterback not used to taking kicks. That might be something that he's going to have to address.
Here's a halftime score that is strange beyond strange. Western Brown has been averaging some 50 points a game the last couple years. They are playing the Washington Blue Lions, and at halftime it is Washington leading Western Brown 12-6. Really?
Got to wonder if there's some blocked extra points.
Really?
It reminds me of the Penn State-Iowa game a couple years ago.
6 points for Western Brown, a team that has been averaging 50 a game the last couple years? What's going on there? 5 wide receivers for DeSales. Day is going to scramble a little bit, gets away from Royce Rachel, gets away from Ostendorf. Going to try to run to the sideline, is hit. Solid contact by Zach Yorty.
Number 12 going to get up. He shows leadership signs. This kid looks like a great football player for the future. Good scramble, and Zach Yorty with a very physical talent, very physical tackle.
If DeSales and Baden continue to schedule each other in future years, and I don't see why they wouldn't, with as well as these games are played and as many second-level points are up for grabs.
Well, if we could just get DeSales to move about an hour south.
I know, but it looks like R.J. Day and it looks like Lem Grace are going to be people that this rivalry they're going to be very acquainted with over the next few years. Day is going to hand the ball off. They've got time to do this. Handoff goes to Garlock, and Garlock is not going to get the first down.
Big tackle there by Drew. Enninger, the senior linebacker, 6'4", 220 pounds, excellent athlete. When you can hold Avery Garlock to 2 yards, you've done something right as the Baden defense.
3rd down and 4. DeSales has 2 timeouts left, so if something disastrous happens here, you can punt. It's not something you'd love to do, but it is still mathematically in the realm of possibility. Quick 3-step drop.
R.J. Day with a big throw. It is caught.
Elgin.
First down.
Jack Elgin with the first down. And again, now that Baden has the lead, we'll see if they actually want to take the risk and bite on that little slant, or if they want to continue to concede that and give up first downs on the field. It's an interesting conundrum there for the defensive backs.
Jack Elgin versus Aiden Brown has been a terrific battle to watch. And once again, R.J. Day throwing across the field. Young freshman quarterback. That's a big-time throw.
First down and 10. The clock running at 2:30 and counting. DeSales in no hurry, which makes you kind of believe it's now or never now.
Well, think about how big those 2 missed field goals are.
Oh, my gosh. Day, 3-step drop, slant pattern. Intended for Elgin. There's that man again on the hit, Aiden Brown.
Ball was on the money.
It was.
Hit was a little bit better than the ball was.
And I think a little bit of footsteps maybe being heard there by Elgin as well.
He can't let that beat him. He just hit himself in the head. Elgin, you played a great game. Settle down. You're going to catch the ball. Take a deep breath. You will get him here.
I'm telling you, Brown is timing that up. That's going to be a pick 6 or it's going to be a sluggo at some point in time if this game keeps going on a little longer.
2:19 left here, 2nd down.
1 high safety for Baden as they have everybody else in man coverage. 5 wide receivers. Well, 4 wide receivers and then the running back Garlock, who's ready to go out for a pass play as well.
High snap.
Oh, they handed it to Garlock.
That was a high snap. What happened there was Day was not ready for the ball. It's actually going to be second and about 14 or 15. He just handed it off as opposed to eating it. Made the right decision.
With the tackle and wrapped him up. I would have never guessed DeSales would have run the ball on that play, and I don't know if it was a design run or not, but Edinger certainly got in there and ate the ball carrier, Garlock. We're down below 2 minutes left to go, and DeSales is not showing a whole lot of urgency for being 80 yards away from pay dirt.
The clock is ticking.
5-step drop. Now he tries to come up with the pocket. Pocket is starting to collapse. Day starts to scramble. Throws it, and it is broken up.
Great
That's
coverage
Samples.
there by number 8, Micah Samples. 5'8", 135-pound junior defensive back. Great coverage. RJ Day, though, puts his head down, runs out, puts his head back up. There's not a lot of college quarterbacks that know how to do that. This young man has been well coached.
Bryce Herrick, the intended receiver on the play, that was the most dangerous throw we've really seen from St. Francis DeSales tonight. And with a 4th and 15, and DeSales is going to take a timeout.
This is the right call. Get your team on the right formation. The ball game is up here. If you don't convert this, this is over. Take your time, make a good decision, get RJ Day comfortable, find something. I would advise trying to get Garlick going, or I would advise trying to get their star wide receiver going. Elazar Hood has had a great game. Jack Elgin too. Those are the guys who are going to beat you right here. If you're Baden, you got the game on the line. 4th and 15. The pass rush has not been there all night. It's got to get there right now.
You hate to take that timeout. I get why you take it. You need this play and this play right now, because if you don't convert it, the game's over. If you do convert it, you're down to 1 timeout left. You're down below 1.5 minutes left to go, and you still got easily half the field still to go. Kind of puts you in a bit of a bind there for DeSales. A lot of bad choices there. Which bad choice do you like best?
Well, I'll take B.
Take B. 4th quarter, 1:34 left. DeSales with 1 timeout left. 4th and 14 for the Stallions. Man,
pressure got to him.
Coming.
He had to run out of the pocket.
Day gets hit. Ball pops loose.
Doesn't matter either way. Baden is going to take a knee here and end the game. Congratulations to the Baden Rams. They will advance to 2-0. DeSales, you boys battled all night long. There is nothing to hang your heads about.
Drew Edinger statistically recovers the fumble, so give the man a fumble recovery to add to his tablet. But it really, as we said, Dan, doesn't matter who pounced on that ball, because it's going to be Baden ball after a 4th down anyway, regardless. Either way, the Rams, all they need to do is take 3 knees. DeSales has only 1 timeout left. They can stop at once. 40-second play clock in between plays. It's basically academic at this point in time.
Play classy here. Take the victory formation. Don't pull a Rudy and throw a halfback pass here for a touchdown to get the walk-on on the field.
Yeah, you fought real hard for this win. Don't blow it now, right? St. Charles, by the way, leading Beechcroft 30-18 with 9 minutes left to play in that game. That's good news, at least for DeSales. And so it sounds like we're actually being joined live right now. We welcome in a listening audience from WMOH as Ritzy's going to take a knee. Well, Steve Vaughn, thank you for texting me and offering to put us on the airwaves. It's halftime right now over at Lakota West. But the Baden Rams have a 10-6 lead. We're down below 1 minute left as the Rams are taking kneel downs. Joel Stackenheim, Dan Conway, glad to have you with us from Alumni Stadium here in Columbus. It was a scoreless first half to this game. Baden and DeSales duking it out. Baden's offense got down only 1 time. Close enough, but got stopped by DeSales when they were in no man's land. DeSales had 2 field goal attempts in the first half of this game, both of them from 31 yards out. One of them was on the right hash, and it was not cut back far enough by Elvis Castro Alvarado, and it was wide right. The second field goal attempt from 31 yards out was pushed wide to the right, and so Both of them no good. It ended up being 0-0 at halftime. The second half started. St. Francis DeSales got the ball 89 yards away at their own 11-yard line and put together their very best drive of the game. They took it right down the field, stole the momentum, any momentum that was up for grabs, took a 6-0 lead on a long touchdown by Avery Garlock from 30 yards out. Avery Garlock was the one who scored both touchdowns last year when Baden and DeSales played against each other. It was 6-0 after the extra point was botched. Baden was able to respond by kicking a 41-yard field goal to make it 6-3. That's where it stood going into the fourth quarter. And then Baden put together their drive of the game and punched in the game-winning touchdown. It was Lem Grayson from only 1 yard out. That was the game decider. It was about 4 minutes left to go, and it was 10-6. Baden's defense was able to hold on. R.J. Day, the quarterback for DeSales, is a freshman. He is the son of Ohio State coach Ryan Day. On a 4th and 15, he had not turned the ball over all game long, played a really workmanlike performance. Finally, 4th and 15, he had to try to put something up. He got hit hard. Ball sprung loose. It was fallen on top of by Drew Ettinger, who was able then to recover it for the Rams. Baden was able to put this thing away 10-6. Dan Conway, what did you see in this game?
I think when you look at this game, these two teams were evenly matched. Really, it would have been a 7-7 game, but the special teams tonight went Baden's way. They got the extra point. They got a field goal. DeSales did not. And that's really the difference in the game. DeSales has an excellent football program. You want to highlight a number of their kids. But the thing is, Baden got the win tonight because they took advantage of short fields when they got them, and they just kept grinding that clock in the fourth quarter. Well-coached football team. Coach Yordy's got to be feeling really good about himself going into week 3, 2-0.
It was interesting to see, Dan, both teams run the ball better than they throw it by a little bit. Both teams play really good defense and knew that about each other, and it forced both teams' offenses to have to throw the ball early and often in this game. A lot of little 3-yard slant routes, stop routes, things of that nature. And finally, though, for both teams, when the game was on the line, they did turn to the old stable running game, and the offensive lines were able to push enough for both touchdowns. Baden is going to be 2-0. They've got to win over Hamilton High School. Hamilton High School was leading Lakota East last I saw, and that is absolutely huge news for Baden because every time Hamilton gets a win in the GMC, it is going to be worth 6.5 second-level points for the Rams. DeSales already beat Tri-Valley in Week 1, so Baden's going to add 5.5 second-level points as well tonight. DeSales, they're going to have a lot more opportunities. They play Cuyahoga Falls Walsh Jesuit next week. Those guys are already 1-0, and they were in a 28-28 battle with McDowell High School of Erie, Pennsylvania. So we'll see what ends up happening there. DeSales has a game in a couple weeks in Wheeling, West Virginia against the Lindsley Boarding School. I mean, these small conferences, you got to try to get creative and find somebody to play. It's been challenging for DeSales. They've only played a 3-game conference schedule now. Baden, of course, nobody wants to play them. You got to find somebody to schedule them, etc., etc.
Well, the thing is, no matter who you schedule, when you have a long road trip home, it feels a lot better after a win. And Coach Yordy and the boys take a 10-6 victory back to Hamilton, where they will get ready for Week 3.
Other scores real quickly, and I know MOH is going to leave us at some point in time soon, so whenever they do that, that'll be cool. But as far as the GCL scores, we're looking at Chaminade Julian in the fourth quarter, leading the Belmont Bison 60-0. Belmont lost 76-0 to the Urbana Hill Climbers last week, and CJ now putting the wallop on them. McNicholas has taken the lead at halftime, 10-7 over Wheelersburg. Tough game out there in Wheelersburg by the Ohio River. Fenwick over Talawanda, 49-0 at halftime. And Tecumseh and Carroll still scoreless in the second quarter, looking for games where second-level points might factor in later on this year. So we'll turn it back over to Steve Vaughn and over to Jared Singleton and company back in the WMOH studios. For you guys that are listening to Princeton and Lakota West, they'll bring you back to their game. It looks like that score at halftime is 3-0 Firebirds. For those of you listening in here, Baden St. Francis DeSales, it is the Baden Rams, 10. The DeSales Stallions, 6. Good night from Alumni Stadium, and we will tune in next time.